Hello, everybody. I'm Mark W. This is Saturday Night Gaming with Mark W. and Rob Bob. And I have Rob Bob on the other end of my headset. Say hello, Rob Bob.
Hello.
And tonight, we're going to be playing a game called Rocky Mountain Man. It is a game that I don't know how to play. So this should be interesting. Um, no, but it is a, a game in a very niche genre called something like Crayon adventure game. If you look at the manual, that's what they call it. Rocky Mountain Man, an adventure crayon game. That's what they call it. And it's a kind of an interesting looking game. And sorry, hold on a minute. I got quite a lag time between my preview and when I update things here. It's very bizarre. Okay, whatever. It's a game that you kind of play at what I understand is like at a slow and steady pace, and it's the kind of game that you could even leave up for a very long time. You could like um, leave it at your table and do a turn from time to time, maybe play for an hour here, an hour there, and then you leave it, come back later, and it could potentially take a huge amount of time. Like it could take 7, 8 hours or something like that. And it's kind of flexible in how you play it, though. It is a game with various modes, like a campaign mode, or what they call a short timed game or a long timed game. And I'll show you some of those here in the manual. Which again, I'm having a lag time, so it's hard for me to use the camera well, but that's all right. You can play it solo. You can play it two player. Here's the lovely art, by the way, cover art. Here's our cover girl. And this is by designer Nate Hayden, who runs a very small game company that he calls the Emperors of Eternal Evil, and that's because his first major game that he made was called Cave Evil, which had a very evil kind of theme to it. It almost looks like black metal cover art. But this game has nothing to do with black metal. However, it is a very very indie game. It's all of his games are a little bit rough around the edges with as far as graphic design and stuff like that. He also kind of has a fondness for sort of I don't know if retro game is the right term, but there there were some board game companies back in the day, such as Avalon Hill and SPI, that they put out a lot of sort of simulation style games, hex encounter kind of games, and that's what some of these games remind me of. But Nate Hayden designed this game in 2020 during the pandemic because he was like thinking of he wanted to make a game that from what I understand, he wanted to make a game that he's sitting around at home a lot that he could just kind of leave out and play in a sort of long running manner. And like I said before, just play a little bit at a time, half hour here, an hour there, and keep coming back to it. And also, he had a fondness for an old game from the aforementioned company Avalon Hill, and I have that game right here. This is a game called Source of the Nile. It's about exploring Africa as a kind of European explorer type. Maybe a little ethnocentric, whatever. It doesn't necessarily say you're the good guy, so maybe it's not ethnocentric. But anyway, this is a game that inspired the game we're going to play tonight. And this is actually quite a heavy game. This is like I don't know, at least 2 or 3 pounds in my hand right here. And it's all about you explore Africa. There's like random hexes that you explore, different terrains, different special discoveries you can make, and you color in on the map with a crayon. Yes, a washable crayon. You color in the types of terrain you encounter and
So,
stuff like that.
so you can wash it off after you play?
You can wash it off after you play. That's right.
Okay.
So Rocky Mountain Man, yeah, is kind of directly inspired by that game, Source of the Nile. And he says a lot of the rules are even the same. So if you played Source of the Nile, you can pick this one up a little more easily. And the funny thing is, even though I own Source of the Nile, I have never played it, so I don't know how to play it. This game is it's easy to say every game is a little bit complicated, but this one kind of is. However, I get the feeling it is probably not that crazy once you get the hang of it. And a lot of the complexity is in these various tables. So, you don't need to memorize all these tables, but this is a whole page of tables that have to do with when you interact with the native tribes that you might encounter, for example. And then some other tables, like this kind of fold out folio has a whole bunch of other tables. And, it might look like overwhelming, like what the hell. But I get the feeling that, it's kind of like you don't have to read any of these tables ahead of time. It's just you look at them as you need them. And eventually over time, you probably get used to the kinds of things you can expect in each table. Hello, Mr. Ryan in the house. Welcome, Ryan. So I've been trying to learn this game pretty much all day today, and I haven't. So we're gonna kind of do it live, like in the Bill O'Reilly gif where he goes, "F it, we're doing it live." That might sound scary, like wow, if you kind of daunting. If you spend all day, Mark, trying to learn this game, then how are you gonna play it now? But really, it's just because I had a lot of interruptions during the day and stuff, and I won't get into my whole personal life. But also, at one point I decided, like about 2 hours ago, I'm just going to watch the video tutorial that the designer put up. Again, his name is Nate Hayden. And so Nate has a video tutorial, and it's an even lower production value than my humble YouTube channel here. He's holding the camera the whole time while trying to do stuff on this board, and it's all wobbly and stuff. And I'm not going to say he explains the game badly. He does a decent job. Rob Bob is burping over the headset, by the way.
Sorry about that.
I'm not going to say he explained it badly, but it wasn't a tightly edited thing. So there's a whole lot of where he does a thing and he goes, "Oh, by the way, I should have gone back and done that thing." And it was a little bit confusing for me to follow, consequently. And so I watched him do 2 turns in the game. And so I have a very basic idea of the phases of a turn. I don't really have a great idea of totally how to play. So basically, I'm going to be needing to reference the rule book quite a bit, I suspect. So going back to what I said before, the different ways you can play, we are going to play the short version, and we're going to play the 2-player short version, not solo. Short version simply means you pick a time limit, and whoever has the most points after the time limit is the winner. And here's a really bizarre thing about it, and it kind of gives you some insight into the design, the design mindset behind this game. And the way it works is, since we're playing 2-player, we each kind of play our own separate solitaire games at the same time. That's what it says to do. And then when the 2 hours or however much time is up, you compare scores, basically. And that might sound like kind of broken, right? So what if I'm doing my turns faster than Rob Bob is? Then I could have maybe 20 turns and he only has 15 of them. And then is it fair to compare scores at that point? I don't know. But what I mean by it kind of gives you some insight into the design mindset is this is a really casual game story. You're supposed to just enjoy the ride of exploring. And then, the 2-player mode is just a way to play at the same time with a friend or something without taking it too seriously regarding who wins and who loses. And hello, guys. Ryan says, "Have you made a John Denver joke yet?" No, but my mom, my wife did just a moment ago. My wife did just a moment ago because she asked what I'm playing, and I said, "Oh, this is a game I'm going to try for the first time called Rocky Mountain Man." So she started singing the John Denver song, and Stu is here, who says more like Mountain Man with that hair. Yeah, I figured I would, play this game at my peak Mountain Man hair and beard. Right, and I'm totally not a tough outdoorsy mountain man type, but one of the things that the video by Nate Hayden mentioned was that a lot of these people who went out to explore this sort of Colorado Rockies area, and that's what it's about, by the way. This kind of eastern part of the board is what we now call Colorado, and the west is like Utah-ish. In fact, Utah is named after the Ute tribe, which we'll be encountering quite a bit of, the Ute native tribe. But anyway, he mentioned that a lot of these mountain men people are they were businessmen. They wanted to make a buck, and kind of white collary people. but they sort of adapted. They went out, they did a lot of trapping. The furs were very valuable, and they might have looked like a nerd, and then they came out looking like like this guy on the cover, and they could be gone for a long period of time, like a couple of years. They would come back and try to sell furs and whatnot. And yeah, two Utes do. No, the Ute tribe is spelled Yute. Where was I going with this? I don't know. I guess nerds became mountain men, and they also mentions in the I forget if within this manual or in Nate's video that it kind of became it was like a trendy thing almost. It was a hot thing to get these furs, but then eventually it was no longer the cool thing, so they were not as valuable, and therefore some of these trappers, they had to, get into other lines of business, I guess. And Ryan says, when I was driving my daughter to college, Utes is all over Utah. Okay, there you go. So as I mentioned already, I don't really know how to play this very well, but we're going to try to figure it out. I have a dual camera setup, sort of. It's actually one camera, but one is kind of going to show you the zoomed in mode, and that should hopefully allow us to see the hexes better. But for now, we can go with the overhead view. Now, Rob, Bob, and I are these two separate crews of explorers. We have the yellow one and the orange down here. And these are both, you can see the spaces say Missouri for each of these. So we're both coming from Missouri at different points. Down here we have the Arkansas River. And up here is just, I don't know, some alpines and stuff like that. Now each of these symbols, like this carrot looking thing and the tree looking thing, those are all laid out here in this map key. And we're going to be coloring those as we explore new hexes. These empty hexes are ready for us to explore them. And we're going to be taking our crayons. Yes, we're going to be really using crayons. For example, every time we find a mountain, we're going to take this black crayon and draw that sort of carrot looking symbol or an arrow looking symbol like so. And I think I just killed one of the tribes. I knocked him all the way over here. So yeah, we're going to be coloring the map as we go. And again, I barely know how to play. I was really trying to get a hold of this game, a handle on this game. It didn't quite happen, but F it, we're doing it live. So the first thing we got to do is, Rob, Bob, do you want to be the orange guys or the yellow guys, or do you care or what?
I'll be the orange guy.
Okay, you want to start at the top just because that's where I have them. Sound good?
Sure.
All right, so I'm coming along on the Arkansas River, and Rob Bob is coming from the northeast. We're both in Missouri. So I'll tell you what I do know so far, and again, I'll have to figure out a lot of it as we go. But there's different colors to these hexes. You can see right here we have this grayish area. This is called the Rockies. That's called a terrain environment. We have the Rockies, is this grayish one. The desert all the way here on the west, which I don't know if we're even going to get there. And we have the mesa, the whitish or the light tan is mesa. And this part that's already filled in is called the plains, I think. So essentially we're going to be going right to the Rockies first. It's my understanding. And we can run into natives, we can try to be nice to them and trade with them. We can get killed by them or try to kill them. You can encounter Spanish dragoons. I'm not entirely sure what a dragoon is. I just remember that term from StarCraft. You had the Protoss dragoons. So all kinds of interesting things get encountered. But yeah, be encountered. But it's basically all kind of the result of what you roll on these various tables. Let me catch up a little bit on the chat here. It just kind of Stu and Ryan shooting the breeze mostly. And Ryan said, just quit your job and have your family work multiple jobs so you can stream full time. That always works. That's what I do, right? So yeah, again, we're not going to be playing the campaign mode. The campaign mode is the really long-term one that I guess Nate was referring to when he said something like, a game that you leave on your table for like days and days and just play an hour at a time here and there. In that mode, you would play various seasons. You have to like cycle through all the seasons, and that can affect your movement and stuff like that. But we don't do seasons because we're not playing campaign mode. And as I understand it, we don't use these rendezvous points. That's another thing we're going to skip because we're not playing campaign. So essentially, we're going to come up with discoveries, which are basically points, and we get to cash them out when we go back to Missouri, I think. So again, I'm kind of mostly clueless about this game, and you'll have to bear with us as we figure it out. But well, what I do know is we start out by outfitting our two respective crews. Hopefully not Star Trek Discovery. Stu, I don't know if that's part of their chat there or if it's in reference to something I said about discovering stuff. But yeah, why don't we get into outfitting? So we each have these sort of character sheets, if you will. They're actually called Mountain Man outfitting sheets. And I made one for me and one for Rob Bob. And it's kind of a lot to them, but we can kind of just go by the defaults that the manual recommends. In other words, you have to like choose all the different kind of crew members you want in your crew. You have to choose the what your skill is. You can choose things that you purchase like horses and canoes and rifles. And it's quite overwhelming. Again, I do get the feeling that this is going to be less crazy once you get the hang of it. But fortunately, the manual has suggested starter outfittings, which is basically all the stuff we're going to start our cruise with. Here we have a lovely picture, by the way, of how we might end up. It says the most common deaths for mountain men were river drownings and Indian and bear attacks. And by the way, let's address the elephant in the room real quick. Indians, right? Not the most PC term. We could always try to be nice to the Indians if we find that's distasteful. But it mentions regarding the terms, American Indians versus indigenous people. I'm not going to read all of this. But in short, it sounds like he said he did his research and even consulted with some tribal nations, and they said that using the term Indian is the best in this particular use case. I don't know how else to explain it. I don't know. I don't want to get in a debate about that, but we're just going to go with what the game says, or I'll probably just generally say the natives. And Stu said, Mark, do you think the Rob Bob AI will ever get a physical body? Well, we can build him a robot body sometime. So I thought that was interesting that apparently Indian is the more correct term here. I don't know.
I've heard that some people prefer that, like some Native Americans. I don't know, or Indians.
Yeah, because I read this page like a few years ago. I don't remember the exact argument. Anyway, there's no need to get too into that. But right, yeah, you could try to be nice to them and trade and stuff. Sometimes you'll just get scalped by them, so you you can't really always play it nice. You'll like draw a card that says that an Indian has scalped you, lose one crew member or something like that. So yeah. And Ryan said I work with multiple natives, and they all hate the stupid white people deciding what we should be called nonsense. I mean, that makes sense. If I were making a game like referring to anybody of any other culture, and there was some kind of doubt about what to call them, I would probably just ask those people. We have the internet these days. We could always put out a forum post somewhere and say, hey, I'm making a game that's about such and such. Could you help guide me in the right terms to use or whatever? And I get the impression he might have done something like that. Nate might have done something like that. Anyway, we're going to go with our basic outfitting that the rulebook recommends. I'm assuming you're okay with doing the same, Rob Bob?
Yeah.
All right. So what it says is you have $1,100 to start. And they say... So you're going to have a leader, right? The leader is, I guess you could say it's you. I don't know. But they recommend starting as a businessman. Which again, it almost seems weird. You think you'd want some rugged hunter or something, but but the businessmen were real real dudes who did this sort of thing, and they recommend that as a starter skill for your leader because they have advantages to negotiation and trade, which I guess would even be involved in when you meet up with the natives or Indians. So we're going to be businessmen. It says for starter crew, try 2 soldiers, 2 hunters, and a doctor. And in the video I was watching, he was doing this sort of a thing, just write like an S for each individual soldier, and 2 H's for the 2 hunters. Doctor. We don't have another businessman because the leader is the businessman, I guess. They say to get 2 guides. Now the guides are Indians, and we're gonna follow the instruction manual and get 1 Ute, not 2 Utes, and 1 Shoshone. So we can write Ute, Shoshone. Okay. And for horses, now there's sort of an advanced mode that you in that case if you play in the advanced mode, you have to keep track of all the weight of the stuff that you're carrying and whatnot. So you can see right here it says advanced, but we're gonna skip that. And at the same time, though, it suggests for newbies to get 10 ride mounts and 2 pack mounts. So I'm not sure if the pack mounts are useful at all if you're not counting weight, but I'm just going to roll with what it says. And hello to Zeblik. Zeblik said it doesn't matter what you call us. It will offend at least half the other tribes that are out there. Okay, fair enough, fair enough. Welcome. Yeah, that's cool. So I'm just going to kind of go whatever flows naturally or whatever the text says generally. I'm not used to saying Indian because, I've been culturally trained to avoid that word, but I don't know. No offense is intended to anybody, no matter what I say. I might call some individuals an a-hole, but that could be white people or or the natives or anybody. We're going to be getting into trouble and stuff. And anyway, for rations, it says to get 50, and you get a bunch of rifles, 10 rifles. It says start without a canoe, so I guess I'll do that. Anyway, let's write down all this stuff. So we got the 2 guys, the Utes and the Shoshone. Ride mount, we're getting 10, and so essentially that's 1 for each crew member, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 2 are extra that we could trade or for emergency because things. This game's all about like a mess of random encounters, so you could get your horses could get killed or whatnot. 50 rations, which we write, I guess here it looks like. Rifles 10, and again that's with 2 extra because we have 8 people. Therefore, 2 of the rifles are kind of just extra. And is that everything? I guess so. Total crew. I guess we write 8 here. We're going to skip the weight stuff. And Ryan says, have you ever been to the Rocky Mountains, Mark? No, actually I have not. No. I've never been in this area of the U.S. except flying over it. But yeah, as I mentioned earlier, this is sort of present-day Colorado on the right, and Utah starts about here-ish. I don't know the geography especially well, but that's what Nate said in his tutorial video. And yeah, I'll apologize for any poor camera work and stuff. I'm gonna be knocking the map around as we go. This is the Great Salt Lake in the upper left corner. I guess I should say the northwest corner. Either way, that gives you some kind of a reference point. I guess you could also look at these rivers. This one here is the Colorado River, and again we have the Arkansas River here. This one is not named. All right then. And by the way, I mentioned you can kind of play. You're supposed to kind of play as a timer with a timer, but we're just gonna play until till we're done. You know, Rob Bob might say, "I want to go to bed, Dad," and then that'll be the end of it. Let's see. And Zeblick says, "Where is Mark from? Have you been out here in the Rocky Mountains?" I am from Long Island, New York, and I am still there today. Yep. And so is my son Rob Bob, who is playing with me.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. All right. So again, it's just kind of unfortunate that I don't know how to play at all, but I was hoping the tutorial would make it super easy and clear. And this is not to knock Nate, but he basically did 2 turns, and that seemed to only cover like a few minor cases. But here is the turn sequence guide. And Zeblick says he grew up in Utah and Oregon. Okay, cool. So you're like over here-ish, I guess. Right. So here's our turn sequence guide. And what I do know is that what you do on the very first thing you do on your turn is you decide how many movement points you want to use this turn. And it can be from 1 through 4 movement points. You can only use 4 if you're on the river and have a canoe, because you go as fast as possible then, basically. And I'm going to get a million things wrong here, by the way. But if otherwise, you can use 1 through 3. But if you use any more than 1 movement point, it's considered that you're going at kind of a brisk pace, I guess, and you have to draw a card and see what danger you encounter. Basically, you're not going cautiously, and bad stuff can happen. So if you look at this example card that I'm holding, at the very top, it says, "In the night, Indians attack camp. 1 crew member killed, scalped. Ignore if in a log cabin." So that would be the danger at the very top here. There's other parts of this card that give us more info on the events that transpire, but the danger is at the top. That's not my card. That's the way it works. These cards are actually 2-sided. So the top has all this stuff. I don't even know what it all is yet. And the bottom side, or the flip side, it's called Warpath. I guess it has to do with when you're getting violent with the natives. But the way it works is when you're told to draw a card, since you're kind of seeing a lot of what's on the card, you look at the next card. You take the top one off and get rid of it. And then you look at the next one to see what events transpire, essentially. All right. Stu said he's been to Salt Lake City and to Denver lots of times. Cool. All right, so yeah, I am a little intimidated by this game, but we can try to just jump into it and then keep looking things up in the rules. And it's probably going to be slow going for the first couple of turns, but we'll try to do the best as we can. And again, though, this game's kind of, for 2 players, it's intended to be played simultaneous, which is so weird to me. But we're going to have to not do it simultaneous, because that's not really possible. But what we have to decide, Rob Bob, is do you want to do that like I do all 6 phases of my turn, and then you do all of your 6 phases? I think that's probably a good way to do it. Otherwise, we could say we each alternate 1 phase at a time. Yes, I guess we'll do that.
I feel like that's a lot of.
Sorry?
I feel like that's a lot of alternating if we do it like that.
Right, that is true. And it seemed like from the demo I saw in Nate's tutorial that a lot of times you're skipping over some of these phases, or some of them are very brief. So I think it's probably okay to just do an entire turn and then switch off. So I guess I'm going to let me write down for you, Rob Bob, the same things. I forgot to do that. You're going to outfit your guys with the same stuff. We do have to deduct the money. I kind of wish it told us the default, like the total cost for all these defaults that it advises, but I have to do the math, it looks like, myself. So essentially, the 2 soldiers are 100. Oh, so each crew member is 50. And the guys are also 50 each. So we have, the leader is free, but the other 7 guys are 50 each for a total of 350. And then the mounts are 500. All these horses, where are they here? forgot to write down the pack mounts. So we got 250, 350, 850, 950. The rations are 50, so that's 1,000. And the rifles are 100. Okay, so we spend all our money. We don't have a buck to spare. Got a big goose egg. All right, so I'll copy this over to your sheet. Now, if you really want to deviate, you can. Feel free to speak up, but you probably don't know what anything actually does, really. So,
No, I'm not gonna.
all right, so
I
I'm
don't
gonna
know.
copy your carbon copy of my crew. Got our 2 hunters and a doctor. We have the Utes and the Shoshone guides, and we have 10 mounts, 2 pack mount, 10 ride mounts, 2 pack mounts, 50 rations, 10 rifles, and that covers everything. You got 0 money, 8 crew members. All right. So I guess I'll attempt to go first. And so the first thing I'm going to do is I have to decide, given where I am, what do I want to do? Oh, here's something that I know that I should probably mention. Looks like Barbarian Prince the game, says Zeblik. Wow, you know your stuff then. I've heard of that game. It's definitely an old school game, like all hex encountery and stuff. So yeah, you you're in the know of this style of game for sure. I haven't played that game though. But this game was directly inspired by Source of the Nile, which is an old Avalon Hill game. Right, so why don't we zoom in a little over here? And yeah, so one thing I do know is if you want to explore a new hex, you have to be already next to it, and you have to spend 3 movement points to go into a new hex because it's all new exploration essentially. So what that means is that as my first turn, I cannot explore a new hex. Now these things like Royal Gorge and Pikes Peak, they're called sites, and I think you get something from finding new sites. Maybe they get a point or something, but these ones are supposed to be already explored, I guess. So I'm going to decide to use, I guess, 3 movement points. And by the way, if I don't have enough horses for all my guys, I think I can only go 1 a turn. And I think I have the option to split up into groups. If I want to leave the non-horseback people behind, I guess I could do it. Like you have these little group pieces. Come on, focus. Whatever. It's not that important. Right then. I don't know. I'm going to go for moving 3 spaces. Then with the hope of the next turn, I can use my 3 movement points to explore a new hex. So let's do that. I'm going 1. Oh, you know what? There's a side that says 1 on these pieces, and there's a side that says 2, and I have no idea what that means. I'm gonna go with 1. I don't know. 1, 2, 3. So I'm actually at the Royal Gorge. I don't know if that affects me in any way. I don't think it does. Actually, I was supposed to. Hang on a second. Right. So if you look at the turn sequence. Before I move, I'm supposed to draw the danger card. Or draw the card that has danger on it. Encounter card. Danger on it. So I decided 3, then I draw. So I'm going to undo that. So what I'm going to do is take this deck, and again, I'm going to take the second card, because I already know what's on the top. And it would be cheating to see what's about to happen. And what happens is a rattlesnake bites a crew member in the desert. Okay, because I'm not in the desert, it means nothing happens. I am in the plains right now. This greenish tint to the hex is the plains. This section, the grayish ones are the Rockies. The tannish are the mesas, and the yellow all the way at the west, which you can't see right now, are the desert. So basically nothing happened, and I'm safe.
Okay.
So now I do movement. If you look over here, there's phase 2 is for when you're moving into an unexplored hex, which I am not doing. So I go right down to phase 3, which is movement ending in explored hex. Movement ending movement. So I'm going to have to look that up And this is again where it's going to be a little slow at first. All right, Zeblik, I appreciate your stopping by, and I'll see you later. Zeblik says he has to do some things, and he'll be back. Right then, so let's get into this. There's going to be a lot of bear with me a minute kind of things that I say because I don't know what I'm doing once again. Here we go. All right, so movement ending in explored hex, draw a card or encounter. If tribe selects policy. This phase allows movement in all other cases. Ending movement in previously explored hex will require an encounter check. Simply draw a card and refer to the encounter section. Do I draw a new card or I use the same one? I guess I have to draw a new one. On a few cards, the encounter will not be experienced on previously explored hexes or mountain hex. Refer to icons inside panel. Okay. If encounter drawn, place and conduct policy choice if tribal or roll on the proper table of trappers or dragoon. Movement. A crew can move the amount of spaces as the movement points selected in the first phase. In the case of moving into an unexplored hex, all 3 MP movement points must be spent exploring the new hex. In the case of moving through explored hex, movement can occur through various hexes up to the MP selected in phase 1. Crew must stop at any hex with encounter. Now I realize that I think I have to look at the cost here for how many movement points things cost. And this is where it actually differentiates between horse and without horse. So for example, if you try to move through the Alpines, with horse it's 1 MP, without horse it's 2. But I'm moving through river right now, right? Or I want to move through actually Alpine. Okay, the river doesn't... I'm a little confused because there's both Alpine and river. I guess I'm going to assume because I don't have a canoe, I would be just walking and therefore it would be Alpine. That seems to make sense. But in either case, it's 1 MP because I have horses. There's also a special thing here for crossing a river. I guess that's if you want to go from one side of it to the other. But I will ignore that for now. So, yeah, I guess I'm going one space here. And do I just keep moving along or what? You can split up the crew. Yeah, river movement. Crews can only travel on a river by canoe. Okay, so I'm not actually on the river. Crossing rivers is an advanced rule, so we're not going to do that because we're not advanced yet. Okay, I guess I just move then and then draw an encounter, I guess. Hold on, I'm a little confused. Bear with me a minute. How do I play the game? Okay, so something worth clearing up is there are encounter cards, which are these guys, and there are also certain little counters that can be moving along the map. Little like dudes, and they could be called encounters, I think. So that's a little confusing. But what do I do right now? Let's see. Horse riding movement's what I'm doing. Yeah. I don't know. All right. I guess I just do this. Ending movement in previously explored hex will require an encounter check. Simply draw a card and refer to the encounter section. I think Rob Bob's burping again or something. All right. So I'm going here and I'm going to draw the encounter section, which I don't even know what that is, though. Let me just check on the... It's somewhere in the manual that should explain. Here we go. It explains the encounter movement is this kind of lower right thing here. Okay. Wait, no, is that not it? Oh, this is it. Counter section. It's the lower left. It's like going to be like a symbol. Like here it shows something like a TP and that thing. All right, so let's see what we get on our new card. we get a total blank encounter section. The lower left looks empty to me. So I think that means nothing happens. And let me check in on the chat real quick. I'm sorry that I'm not able to keep up with it very well. Eric's recovering from COVID. Oh, sorry about that, Eric. Hope you're doing all right, though. And he's had 60 miles per hour gusts in the Windy City. Wow. All right, so what the hell are we doing? So I'm thinking that we are done with phase 3. So phase 4 is draw a card for... Oh, is that what we just did? Draw... Okay, so the things on the board that are called encounters that we don't have any of yet. We would draw a card to see how they move now, if they were on the board. That is my understanding. Now we get to the fun stuff, actions and eating. Oh, I didn't save MPs for this part, but you can go slower to save movement points for these things. You have to eat. I saw in Nate's demo, his tutorial video, that you could go hunting. You like roll on a chart to get some food, but basically the excess food that you don't immediately capture via hunting, you would have to subtract from your rations. And I have 50 rations, so I should be good for a while. But eventually, if you can't feed people, then they can you have to like check off some stuff on this starvation section of your sheet. And we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But I think basically it's what it says here. If all 5 are marked, 1 crew leaves. And I don't know if it would reset at that point or like every single turn 1 crew would leave. Anyway, for now, I think I can, I used all my MPs actually moving, but I can set a trap and hunt. So I guess I'll try both of those things. So let's try hunting. So now we're going to get this table somewhere over here. Here we go, hunting. And what it says is roll a d6, and it's essentially nothing success, or if you roll a natural 6, you hit a bison herd and you get to roll again and do fun stuff, I guess. But here's the thing, because I have 2 hunters in my crew, I add 2 to the roll. So basically, I should get food unless I roll a 1 or a 2. So let's do that right now. We got our 6-sided die. And I rolled a 3, which gets modified to a 5. Therefore, that is a success. So it says
You might as well hunt.
Sorry?
You might as well hunt no matter, like, every turn?
I think so. And I think you might as well lay a trap as well, but I don't know if maybe there's some weird encounters and weird situations where that might not be true.
Okay.
Yeah, as far as I know, you might as well do it. But we'll keep doing that unless something shows us otherwise. But it says number rolled plus modifiers are the food amount. So I got 5 food. And how this works then is because I think I have this right. Is because I have 8 crew members, I just got enough to feed 5 of the 8. So I have to deduct 3, which is the difference from my rations.
Okay.
So we're down to 47 rations. And I can play a trap, which are these little counters here. Not end counters, but little counters. They show a like bear trap looking thing. And
what is it for?
You lay these traps, and then you can get furs when you return to them later. It's probably worth going over how this works. Since it's a free action, I'm gonna do it.
Could I go to your traps and get furs?
I don't know. Sounds like it would be fun to steal other people's traps.
Or could I go to your traps and get trapped? Or maybe they're just animal traps. I don't know.
I don't know actually. You can actually spend a
Like
movement point checking for traps.
Okay.
Oh, that's
I think that's checking your traps.
Yes. Yeah, that's when you return to the hex. Okay, so basically all you have to do is leave the hex and come back. And then you can check the trap. But setting a trap is free. The opposing player can lay a trap in the same hex. Note a single trap counter represents many traps. The trappers would often lay hundreds of traps. Alright, so there's my trap. I think we're getting close to the end of my turn. We might be there right now, actually. Yeah, I think I'm done, yeah. All right, so that was turn one for me. I think I'm pretty sure I'm messing things up, but we'll see how badly we mess up. All right, and it is hang on a second. I just heard something knock on the floor, so I'm like, what did I drop? Oh, it knocked on my deck of cards. As you can tell, this is a haphazard operation. I guess you're up, Rob Bob. So
Okay.
Rob Bob's crew of miscreants are moving around. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat.
I'm miscreants and you're the heroes.
Yeah, I'm the hero. You're the miscreant. Ryan says, "Does anything happen in this game?" Nope, nothing happens. No, it's going very slow at first, but eventually we'll be like exploring a bunch of hexes. I'll be coloring them in. We're going to be getting a lot more of these trees. I'm going to color in like a green triangle for the trees, or for mountains, we're going to draw that black arrow, etc. For river, I draw with the blue, and we'll be rolling on a lot of tables. Once we get the flow going, a lot of stuff should be happening. We'll be rolling on the tables. We'll be encountering natives. We'll be fighting them or trading with them, stuff like that. You may wonder how we actually win. Well, the thing is, we're just going to be kind of gradually adding to our victory points based on explored hexes and passes and discoveries. So essentially what we do is we write down like a tally marker for each of those, like an explored hex or a discovery, but we don't cash them out, so to speak, or cash them in until we go back to our Missouri starting space. That's when we tell everybody, hey guys, look what I found. Look at the stuff I mapped out. And then we get points that way. In the campaign mode, you can also do so at these red rendezvous sections, but you actually, I don't know, you have to like roll to see which rendezvous is in play or something, and you put this counter there. I'm not sure why it's only in the campaign mode. It could be that you simply don't have time to get that far in the shorter version of the game. Anyway, Rob Bob, you're up. So I'll show you this turn sequence thingy again.
So I gotta choose where I'm gonna move, right?
First thing you want to do is decide, do you want to use 1, 2, or 3 MP this turn? If you use any more than 1, you have to draw danger. I feel like you should just go with 3, but it's up to you.
I guess I'll do 3. I don't know.
Okay, and also remember that you don't have to spend them all to actually move, because you can do other actions toward the end of the turn, like checking the traps and whatnot. Building a campaign. I don't even know what that does. Oh, building. That's in the campaign mode only. Okay.
And so I can search path.
Search a path. I don't know what a path actually is, but oh, that's in the advanced mode only. All right. So there's a lot of cool stuff that's only in the advanced mode. Anyway, so you're gonna move 3.
Yeah, I guess I'll just about like left and then down left and left.
All right, but before we even do that, we have to draw the danger. Your danger is Coyote's attack in the brush. Okay, so are you in the brush even? I don't think you are, because you're in Missouri still. And what is the brush? The brush would be these kind of 3 little lines, so you're safe. Coyotes don't catch you.
In there.
Exactly. Okay. So now you can move. And What did you want to go, like you said, like left or something?
Like left, down, left, left to that mountain tile.
The thing is, the mountain tiles do take 3 movement points to go into.
So then I probably just want to go left
I think you're right. Yes.
to the. Is that the mesa?
Oh,
Or
yeah. This is a mesa space, but you cannot go into an unexplored hex because it costs 3 movement points to do so.
uh. So I just can't go until next turn, I
Yeah, the
guess.
next turn you could do that, but that gives you 1 more point left. I'm not sure if you can actually do anything with it. You could check traps, but there's no traps to check.
I can't put a trap and then check it, right?
No, you have to move away out of the hex and back in before you can check it.
All right. So I can just go hunting then, right?
All right. Before we do that, though,
And
you got to draw the card for encounters.
okay.
So here's your card. The lower left shows encounters, and it's blank, like mine was. So you're safe.
Nothing.
It's a big fat nothing. And as you can see, it's actually kind of a quick turn, just that we're kind of reviewing every little step carefully. So now you draw a card for encounters movement, which again I'm skipping because we don't have any encounters on the board yet. And so now you do actions and eating. So do you want to hunt?
So hunt and setting a trap, I guess.
Yep.
So hunt first.
All right, let's hunt. I will roll the die for you. And again, it is simply a pretty simple chart. You just have to roll 5 or plus, and you get a +2 because you have 2 hunters.
Okay.
So let's see what you get. All right, you got a 7, which means you
That's pretty good.
you get 7 food, and therefore everybody is fed except one poor schmo who has to eat one of the lowly food rations. So you have 49 food rations. Okay, is there anything else? Set the traps, right?
Yeah.
Here you go. Ouch, my leg. You just stepped in it. Ryan said I hate board games that have the thin little cardboard pieces. They always move around easily. What, like these cardboard guys? I don't think they're that bad. I actually kind of like these because they are, I don't know, I like this style. Maybe it's nostalgia, but this is very similar to a lot of the old games that I was referencing, like by Avalon Hill and SBI. These are like, I don't know, they're a 1/4 inch or a 1/2 inch, but they tend to have very simple, just like kind of silhouettes of the artwork. They work pretty well. I kind of like them. Anyway, I think that's your whole turn. Yeah, so I guess it's back to me. So as you can see, those turns were extremely quick. I'm taking a long time trying to understand what the heck we're doing, but there's not really much going on in them so far. But for my turn, sorry,
I said I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick.
he's going to the bathroom. I'm gonna do my turn while he's. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be good. Now, so I'm gonna think about what I want to do for my turn. One thing I could do is just walk away and then back to check my trap. But to do so, I'd have to go to an unexplored tile because it takes 3 movement points to go. Sorry, let me start over. To do that, I'd have to go to an already explored tile because otherwise it'll take 3 points to go into an unexplored tile. I kind of want to explore a new tile because that sounds fun. So I'm simply going to go right here. And the first thing I have to do is declare I'm going to use 3 MP this turn. And so I draw a endangered card once again. And it is upside down. If in desert. I'm not in desert. So far, none of these have applied, right? So as you can see, it doesn't always apply. Not even close to always. And Ryan says, I'm more of a mainstream board game guy. I like the heavy plastic pieces. Okay, yeah, I mean, like miniatures and stuff. It is fun playing board games with nice miniatures. I ought to get my Space Hulk set out one of these days. Space Hulk has these big, chunky miniatures of like Warhammer 40K Space Marines and the aliens that they're fighting. They're really nice. That's a fun game. Anyway, so I'm allocating my 3 movement points, and now this is a different thing. We're going to explore a new hex. So we have to go through a whole bunch of little sub steps here. Check lost to see if we get lost because we're exploring new territory. Draw a card for terrain. Draw a card for river. Rob Bob is back. So Rob Bob, very quickly, I'm exploring this new hex. So I'm going over what we have to do for that.
Okay.
Draw a card for river. Draw a card for discovery. So we discover something cool, hopefully. And then we draw a card for encounters. So first of all, how do we do this check lost thing? I think it's just another table. But let me make sure I understand what the heck I'm doing. By opening up Ye Old Manual. And by the way, this manual's pretty neat because it had little like historical sidebars. Like about this dude, Jim Beckworth. Has a quote from him, like, on the 1st of October, 1842, on the upper Arkansas River, I erected a trading post and opened a successful business. In a very short time, I was joined by from 15 to 20 free trappers with their family. We all united in our labor and constructed an adobe fort 60 yards square. By the following spring, it had grown into quite a little settlement, and we gave it the name of Pueblo. And that's basically the time period we're in, by the way. We're kind of like the earlier half of the 1800s. All right, though. So we're going to check lost, which it explains right here in phase 2A. Prior to movement, the crew must check if they are lost. Rolling on the lost table. Modifiers for guides and scouting skill will be added. Okay, so I have I have a Ute and a Shoshone guide, but does that mean I add 2 or what? If lost, the crew cannot leave their hex and must go to phase 4. All right, let's take a look at the lost chart. Maybe that'll clarify how the guides figure in. I'm gonna guess it's they add 2. I think that was explained in Nate's video. Here's the lost table. It's a very, very simple one. +1 per guide or scout, and it's just 1, 2, or 3 is lost. 4, 5, 6 continue, or 4 plus continue. Since I have 2 guides, that essentially means anything but a 1, and I'm not lost. So let's roll the die. All right, just barely made it. So we are not lost. And now we do step B, which is draw a card for terrain. And this is simply to see what we're going to color in. This is the fun part. We're going to use crayons. How many people can say they played a board game where they got to color in stuff with a crayon and the game wasn't designed for like preschoolers? The top exploration card is discarded, and the terrain section of the next card the next face up card is red. The terrain section has 3 categories: Rockies, Mesa, and Desert. Depending on the unexplored hex area, the proper category is noted. For example, if in Rockies, the Rockies terrain is noted. The player draws the terrain symbol on the blank hex with crayon.
Crayon.
Let's check what Ryan's saying real quick. I've painted many a miniature, but never played the actual games. I just like painting them. And Ryan says I live in an Adobe house. Oh, cool. I've used Adobe Photoshop. Adobe, isn't it like a clay something or other? Maybe Ryan can tell us better than that lame explanation I just attempted. Right, so we're going to see which terrain it is.
Yeah, I think it's like clay. I looked it up.
Okay, so what we're looking at is the matching color of the hex, right? So we're in the gray, which is the Rockies, and therefore we found a mountain. So we get to take our black crayon here and draw that. Okay, that doesn't really draw that cleanly, but I guess that's how it is with washable crayons. See, this is special thing. And also Nate said in his video that again, he made this game, he designed this game during the pandemic in 2020, inspired by the other game by Avalon Hill, Source of the Nile. And at the time he was trying to, stock up on these washable crayons from Crayola, but they had a shortage due to, the pandemic making all the supply chain stuff all crazy. So he had trouble getting consistently all the right colors for the game, which are black, green, and blue. And therefore, he says, in the manual, I think he says, sometimes you might have a different color than black. I just had to substitute a dark color like purple sometimes. But luckily, I got the right colors. So, yeah, we have a new mountain. I'm in the mountains. Now, the next thing we do is draw a card for river. The top exploration card is discarded, and the river section of the next face-up card is red. The river section has two categories: continuation, left side, and beginning, right side. The left side is noted if an adjacent river is on any hex side of the new hex to determine if it continues into the new hex. The information on the left will show results for either continuing a river through the new hex or the turning of the river per direction roll. So this sounds very complicated, but all it's saying is you either have to see if a new river starts or how the existing river proceeds if there already is one. I'm not sure though which one I count, because there is a river right next to me, but
it doesn't lead there.
it's not leading there. Yeah, that's what I'm not sure. So let me read that a little more carefully. Right, that's why they say hex side. That's kind of a term that's used in a lot of these old hex encounter style games. The hex side refers to like the edge of the hex. So essentially there is no river on any hex side of the new hex. Therefore, there is no continuing river. So there could be a new river that begins, though. We're going to look at the right side of the river information on the next card that we draw. And so we see right here, flip it around, and it looks like there is no river. It would be right here if there was a new river. So there's no new river. So next is D, draw a card for discovery. I think this is where it's going to get exciting. The top exploration card is discarded. I've been calling these cards encounter cards. They're actually exploration cards. That makes it a lot less confusing. I was saying it's kind of confusing because some of the counters are called encounters, and these cards are called encounter cards. No, these are called exploration cards. All right, sorry about that. I blame my newbiness to the game. Right then. Discovery section of the next face-up card is red. The discovery will often mention a kind of terrain or section of the map. If the various descriptions match, a discovery may be made and the text is followed. Discovery will often just be noted for potential points on the outfitting sheet. If the crew returns to Missouri or goes to the rendezvous, the discovery points become victory points, as the crew is able to share the information with others. Discovery points also make the crew money. Each discovery point is multiplied by 10 in Missouri and the rendezvous as the crew is selling their findings. All right, so essentially, I think we're just getting possibly we're getting a point that can be cashed out later. So we're going to look next. And discovery is right here. If in Mesa area, no, we're on the Rockies area. Mesa is over here. If in Mesa area on a lake, Grand Lake is discovered, place site counter 15 VP. So I guess that means I got nothing. Womp womp. All right. And now we draw a card for encounters. What kind of miniatures did you paint, Ryan? Like kind of like D&D game miniatures? But you didn't play much D&D? All right, draw a card. The top exploration card is discarded, blah, blah, blah. In the encounter section, if a TP is shown, an encounter occurs. The player draws from the encounter piles based on what region he is in the map, north, central, or south. That's something I kind of neglected to talk about, but the whole map is divided into 3 sections. You can look at the dotted line, north, central, and south. It's pretty straightforward. And we have the AV guy didn't do a good job routing these wires appropriately. I'm going to fire him. All right, so all right, let's just do what it says, I guess. Draw a card for encounter. So again, we're going to look at the lower left of the new card that we flip. Oh, we got a shuffle deck card. Do we do that immediately? It says to do that at the very end. But does this count as nothing? I guess so, because it has other information on the card. It's not just a shuffle deck. But there's no encounter here, so I guess no encounter happens. Okay. And I guess that's the end of phase 2, which is for when you're exploring unexplored hexes. Now we go to 4, draw card for encounters, movement. Once again, we don't have any encounters. So phase 5, actions and eating. I guess I'll just do the same thing, hunting and traps. I'm a little confused about traps because it seems like I'm going to be leaving a ton of them, but I only have so many of the pieces. Is that the limit of the number of traps you can leave, perhaps? So let me check if there's anything about that. I mean, it's just a very brief paragraph about setting traps, so I don't know. I would assume you're constrained by the number of pieces it gives you. So maybe I'll not leave a trap. That way I can try to space them out a little bit. But I will hunt. There's no reason not to hunt. They could have added like somehow a very unlikely roll is like, your quarry actually kills you. It kills a crew member. Like you're trying to hunt a bear and it kills you. Anyway, I'm going to add 2 because they have 2 hunters once again. And I got a nice natural 6, which is something special. If you look at this chart, it says a natural 6. Bison herd, roll again. Add both results plus modifiers for food amount. Leftovers are rations. Oh, you don't normally get leftovers for rations, I don't think. But now I'll make like bison steaks or something. And then people complain that I didn't cook the bison steaks to their liking. That's kind of an inside joke. I think Ryan knows what I'm talking about. I kind of noticed that every time you find a short form video on the internet and it's about steak, there's always people who both complain about the steak being overcooked and undercooked. Different people, but it's like every steak is not right. And Ryan says, I wonder what the first board game to use hex squares first. Oh, I don't know. One possibility, and this is kind of a wild guess, is Kriegspiel. Kriegspiel was a war game invented by, as you can probably guess, the Germans, to be sort of a real like trainer for the strategies of war. And I think it came out a long time ago, let's say that much. But I'm not sure if it used hexes. And even if it did, it's not necessarily the first game to do so. But I think it's credited as being the first kind of modern style war game, even if it was not being used for very nice purposes, ultimately. Right, anyway, so you also get pluses to hunting if you're on a river or lake, apparently, because you're fishing. All right. And the hunters only get the bonus if they have rifles, which I do have, but it's good to know. So anyway, I'm rolling again, and I'm getting that many. So far I have 8 because it's +2 for the hunters with rifles, and another 5, so it's 13. So all my people are fed. All 8 of them are fed. This is Rob Bob's sheet. All 8 of them are fed, and the excess 5 I make into lovely bison steaks. So I have 52 rations.
That's a lot.
Yeah. So, I guess that's the turn, but it says it's the very last phase, phase 6. If you get the shuffle card, then you have to reshuffle, which is pretty obvious how that works. I'm not even going to look that up. So I'm just going to mix them up real quick. I'm not going to worry about being super perfect about it. All the ones we saw were at the bottom only. I guess it's like the bottom 10 or 15 or so. Let's kind of shuffle them in here randomly. And then it would be your turn, Rob. Bob, how many while I'm shuffling, how many points do you want to use this turn?
I
You're up
guess
here.
3, and I'll explore a new place.
Yep, that makes sense. So you're gonna head to the west probably, right?
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's the only option unless you want to count these partial hexes, but I don't know if you can.
Yeah.
All right. So you're using 3, which means you must draw a danger card or a danger on the exploration card. And you get
Right.
in the night, wolves attack near lake. Oh, you're not near a lake, right? I guess not that we know of. What if this turns out to be a lake?
So it doesn't count?
So it doesn't count. So far, we're just getting a whole lot of like things not counting.
I guess because when it does count, it's pretty bad.
Yeah. Well, not everything is necessarily bad. I guess the dangers are. I guess dangers can't be good, right?
Yeah.
Oh. And again, I don't know what the 1 and 2 sides of these mean. But whatever, we're just rolling with it. All right, so next, Bob, we're going to check if you are lost because you're going to a new hex, an unexplored hex.
All right.
So the lost table, you saw this before, right? You have 2 guides,
yeah.
so you add 2 to the roll, and therefore a 1 is lost. Anything else, you're good. So rolling for Bob. He's the blue die, by the way, and I'm the white die. All right, you're good. You're not lost.
Okay, good.
The next is you draw the card for terrain. So let's see what terrain you encounter. You found, because you're in the gray area, which is rocky, you find mountains just as I did.
Okay.
Break out the wonderful crayon.
The crayon. Some people
Crayon.
say crayon.
Okay. Now we draw a card to see if there's a river involved. That would be right here if there was any river involved. There's not. Now we draw a card for discovery. As you can see, you start to get the hang of it. It's just like, okay, you draw a card, see what happens. Nothing. Okay, draw a card, nothing. Like pretty quick. Discovery is right here. Yep.
I was just going to say, what do I discover?
You do discover something because you are in the mountains. So finally, something's happening. If in the mountains or alpine, find unique red rock formations. 10 victory points. Oh, wow.
Oh, really?
I'm looking at the sheet a little bit because I'm trying to see, like, the victory points are supposed to be things that you, like, you go back home, essentially, and then you can cash out your discoveries and stuff and turn them into victory points. But it sounds like you're getting them right away in this case. Or maybe it's just worth that. I think it's just worth that. Yeah, it's telling you how much it's worth for later, I think. But maybe I ought to verify if I can.
I think it's probably just saying
Yeah, that's
you
how
have to
much
go
it's...
back.
Right, you're probably right. Boop, 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 boop. Let's just try to verify that. Go.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, okay, so wait a minute. Let me just read the whole thing. Okay, the top exploration card is discarded, and the discovery section of the next face-up card is red. The discovery will often mention a kind of terrain or section of the map. If the various descriptions match, a discovery may be made and the text is followed. A discovery will often just be noted for potential points on the outfitting sheet. If the crew returns to Missouri or goes to the rendezvous, the discovery points become victory points, as the crew is able to share the information with others. Discovery points also make the crew money. Each discovery point is multiplied by 10 in Missouri and the rendezvous as the crew is selling their findings. Oh, so you get 10 times the value in money as well. So, okay, so we write 10 in discoveries.
Okay.
I'm actually starting to doubt if I was correct about the rendezvous point only being involved in campaign mode. Let me just check on that real quick. I don't know why I'm having a doubt about that. Rendezvous. Ignore in the short game. Okay, no, I was right. So we don't have any rendezvous points. Okay, so what else do we do for you? Draw a card for encounters. Next card is encounter would be down here, so there's nothing again. And again, I think we're skipping 4 for encounters movement. So we're back to phase 5, which is actions and eating. Do you want to eat? Well, you have to eat, but do you want to hunt is what I meant to say.
Yes.
All right. Hello, Dice Tales. Dice Tales is in the chat and says an early Avalon Hill game had the first hex board. Oh, that'd be interesting to see. I bet somebody's talked about that on like Board Game Geek or something. I'm sorry, what you're hunting, right, Rob?
Yes. Hunting and setting up a trap.
All right. So let's roll. We're going to add 2 once again. Wow, you got a natural 6. Good rolling.
Ooh. All right.
So we're going to roll again and add that. Oh, my goodness. Did I? Oh, I don't think I added modifiers to mine before. You're supposed to add the modifiers to the second roll as well.
Oh.
Wait, I think. Add both results plus modifiers. Yeah, I think you do.
Wait, both results plus modifiers?
Let's just go with you add modifiers again. I think that's what you do. So I'm giving myself another 2 because of that. But you get a whole lot. You get
the best I could have gotten.
Yeah, I think you get 16, right? Yeah.
I don't know.
You get 8 and 8, I think.
Plus 2.
And you immediately consume. Sorry, what?
So 8 and. Yeah, okay. Yeah. 8 and 8.
Right, so you feed your 8 people and you get extra bison steaks to spare, so you're at 57 rations.
All right.
Okay. We're starting to get into a little bit of a groove here. I think it's pretty cool. And you want to play a trap, you said, right?
Yes.
Okay. Just remember that I'm assuming, I kind of talked this through before. I'm assuming that you're limited by the number of pieces you have for traps, which you can't see because you're on the phone. But essentially, there's only 3 more at this point. You have 5 altogether, it looks like. So it's probably just good. Just be aware of that. I mean, it might not be bad to cluster them all here necessarily.
Well, then I can go walk around and collect all of them, maybe. I don't know.
You could get them all on the way back, perhaps, when you're returning to Missouri. It might not be a bad thing.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see as we play. You know, is it good to spread them out or cluster them, or perhaps there's pros and cons to each? Anyway, I guess your turn is done. So back to my turn. See, it is a pretty fast turn. All right, so I'm going to decide my movement allowance. It kind of feels ridiculous to only use 1. Like, I guess it may be extreme situations if you're about to die, or like for whatever reason you're in grave danger, maybe you only want to move 1 at a time, just to avoid the danger on the exploration card. But I guess I'm just gonna keep exploring. Exploring is fun, so I'll use 3, and therefore I draw a danger card. And what do we get? Natives, strength 2, attack in the brush. Go to warpath. I'm in the mountain, not the brush, so I'm good. Next, we're going to move into the unexplored hex. I don't know. I guess I could try to either progress outward or just kind of try to fill in this area that's close to home. It makes me wonder why I'd want to go outward. I guess just to explore mesas to get different outcomes, or I could try to go to Taos down here, which you can't really see right now. I'm not sure what happens when you go to Taos. It's a Spanish settlement, I think. That's why they gave it the colors of like the red and yellow. So the Spanish beat us white people there, I guess. Well, I guess the Spanish are they not white? I don't know. You know what I mean? The Americans, right? Spanish, whatever we are. We're Missourians. There we go. All right. Anyway, um, I don't know. I guess I'm gonna just go along the river because that sounds fun. That's my logic. So now I draw for what kind of. Oh, I have to see if I'm lost first, right? So we determined anything but one is good. We have two guides, right? Yeah. 4 or higher, you're good, and each guide adds 1. So we roll. And I'm good. No bonuses with a natural 6 in that case. Next is you draw the card for terrain. And we got brush. No, what's that called? It's not brush. It's alpine. Okay. So we need our green crayon here. And these don't draw as well as I'd like, but what are you gonna do? It's not like we're making fancy art here. As long as we can see the general color and shape, we're good, I guess. Okay, there's my alpine-ish looking thing. And then we draw for river. Does a new river start alongside the other one? Oh, look at that. River begins. We're looking right here, if it wasn't obvious. All right, let's see how that works. I guess I just draw a blue line or something, but which direction? River begins is right over here. Referring to the right side, and the result is begins. A source of the river is made by drawing a small, it's the source of the river, a small blue circle in the center. A direction roll is made to determine a hex side direction, to see like which direction it flows, basically. A small blue line is drawn from the source to the hex side. If lake terrain, the blue line is drawn from the lake. Okay, we're not in the lake. All right, so we're going to get the blue for the first. Oh, now we have to mix our blue and green here. I guess it's like this one, like they did here. Or is that a lake? I don't know. There's no example on this sheet. So I'll just do what it said. Draw a blue circle. And we are going to roll on the direction chart thingy. Which you can see, I have to zoom out, but or scroll, how about? In the lower left here, we have this direction compass thingy. So you roll a die to determine which direction. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's also a nice thing about hexes in board games, is it corresponds to 6 different sides. So if you want to have a randomly determined one, it works perfectly with a standard 6-sided die. So let's roll for that. It goes 1, which is that way. So the river is flowing this way, which kind of seems to make sense somehow. Again, not a beautiful work of art. Oh, sorry, I'm off screen here. This looks terrible, doesn't it? Yeah. I guess there's only so much that a washable crayon can do. We have this green with the the what do you call it, the source of the river here, and it's going that direction. All right. Okay, so that's where we are. We discovered a new river. Next up is discovery. And Eric says, does the river then enter the next hex? Yeah, probably would, because what would happen is if we go along to the next hex, you would use the left part of this river section of the card, the exploration card. And I think this would say, I think this one means it basically goes straight. Some of them show like a curve or something. Or here, this one shows like a fork. But yeah, you would, and I'm assuming most of them on the left side show something. Occasionally it says river ends, but it's like common for the river to keep flowing because that's kind of natural, right? All right, so next up is discovery. And the discovery says, if in the mountains see a white-tailed ptarmigan, but we're not in the mountains, we are in the alpine. So no such luck. So now we draw a card for encounter. So far we've been lucky and haven't gotten any encounters. I mean, some of them might be good for all I know. And some of them probably are. But we got something. All right, we have our first native encounter. So we find the TP icon and it says no mountains. So I think that means they don't appear if we're in mountains, but we're not in mountains. So this is the encounter icon. It's actually a general encounter icon, not just, you know, there's not many kinds of them basically. And here it shows that symbol we just mentioned, no encounter in the mountains. So what we're going to do is draw from region pile, crew is in, placing on same hex. Now you guys haven't seen this because it's off camera view, but I have a bunch of these counters. I'm going to grab just one from each. They have one for each section, south, center, and north. And because I'm in the center, I'm going to draw one of these central guys. The only thing I don't like is they are all kind of marked. Not all kind of marked, but some of them are. Because the printing isn't like even with the die cutting. And also I found the die cutting was kind of imperfect. So when I was punching out some of the pieces, some of them tore like this. It's not the hugest deal, though. You just kind of don't look and pick one. But anyway, I'm picking a yellow one, I think, because I'm in central. So let's just do that. And it goes in my hex. It is a, what is it, though? Ute. What does it say under it? Yampa? Ute, Yampa, and a 3 in the upper right. Okay, so we found the Utes. 2 Utes. I guess they wanted to hang out right near the mouth of the river. Is that the right term? Is it source of the river or the mouth of the river, or are they the same? Do you know, Rob Bob?
I feel like sources, right? I don't know about mouth.
All right, we'll go with that. I remember quizzing you on that kind of stuff in your social studies class a few years back. But
yeah.
But I'm old and forgot all these things. All right, so what do I do with these guys? If tribe select policy. Oh, we're getting to tribes here, guys. Uh-oh. Tribe policy tables. When encountering a tribe. Wait, am I encountering them right now? I guess I probably am, right? Yeah, it was an encounter. Encounter section of the exploration card. So I can choose how I want to approach them, basically. That's called the policy, the tribe policy. Hide, ignore, trade, cheat, friendship, or combat. Now, is Arturo in the house? If so, he's going to want me to kill people. So I'm gonna ignore Arturo. But look at it, got all the different charts. I feel like it's worth a glance at the rule book, although it seems like it's pretty much you roll on the chart according to which policy you want to go for. Well, let's take a quick glance because it's the first time we're doing this. If tribe select policy. If a TP is shown, an encounter occurs. The player draws from the encounter pile based on what region he's on the map, north, central, or south. If all counters are in play, ignore encounter. The counter is placed on the same hex. In the case of an encounter with trappers or a Spanish dragoon, the particular table is rolled. If the encounter is a tribe, the tribe is noted in the player's notes on the outfitting sheet and a policy select. Oh, so I take note on. You know, I think we were supposed to maybe take note of every explored hex too. Let me take a look at that though. I think we just write like a 1 or something on that. Bear with me one sec though. I'm going to go with that because I think I saw the dude do that in the video, and that is every time you explore a hex, you like write a 1 here. So you would have 1 too, Rob. I should have 2, and you should have 1. This is your sheet. So if we're wrong, we can figure it out later. All right, so Also, does it take note of the tribe or? Oh, look, you have Okay, sorry, I'm not really showing my sheet right here. But there's a whole tribe section. So I found the Ute Yampa, which are mentioned down here. So there's different kinds of Utes. So I guess I'll just write Ute Yampa and fill in the rest as stuff happens. All right. So I guess it gets back to the table then. All right, guys. I'm a little nervous. I'm encountering a tribe of Utes. I can hide, try to avoid them entirely, ignore them, just to try to avoid an encounter, but I'm not actively hiding, I guess. Trade, cheat, friendship, or combat. Well, I'm going to say off the bat, I'm leaning towards friendship or trade. Maybe hide. I don't really think I want to hide, actually. I don't want to be outright antagonistic to them, so cheat and combat is out. What is the chief table? Maybe something else tells you to roll on the chief table. All right, I'm going to make a call and say, well, trading sounds good, but do I have anything to trade to them? I guess I do. I can trade like rifles or horses, probably. Trade allows even trade 1-to-1 as much as desired. Cash cannot be traded. Indians can be recruited for crew position. That's cool. Rifles are not available, but can be traded to try. Okay, so I'm not really. I guess I probably have to visit the manual again. Because what would that mean? I trade them the value of a rifle and I get something else, or I guess I could get a canoe, perhaps. Do I even want a canoe? Can I carry a canoe? I guess that carrying the canoe would be an issue if you're using the advanced rules that have weight as a consideration. But since we're not doing that, I could probably freely carry a canoe with no problem. I don't know. I feel like I have to think too much with trading, though. Maybe, maybe I'll just look at the friendship table, see what that looks like. Okay, this looks fun. You just have a random fun thing happen, including it could be talk to the chief, talk to the hand. No, crew member meets woman, beginning relationship. Okay, all right. I'm gonna roll on the friendship table. Friendship again. Mortal Kombat reference. All right, let's see what we get. Do I modify it all? Over here it says natural 1, no modifiers can be added. That seems to imply modifiers apply when I don't roll a 1, but maybe it has to do with. I do have a Ute guide, right? I spelled it wrong before, by the way. Does having a Ute guide help here? Let me check that out. Oh, they have a whole section here on the tribe policy stuff. Okay. Warpath. If the encounter leads to Warpath, then bad stuff happens. Opposing players can combat each other. Huh. So we can beat up each other, apparently, I guess. But for now, let's just see how rolling on friendship might work. Oh. Friendship, simply befriending tribe. If successful, roll on friendship. Wait, what do I have to succeed? I have to make a roll just to roll on, to be able to roll on friendship? Yeah, now it's time to read this more carefully. All right, blah, 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 blah. The policy chosen will have an ability and table to be rolled to see if the policy is successful or if something else may occur. Each table will have a variety of modifiers. Guides of the same tribe will often provide modifiers. Also, if the crew was previously friendly or hostile with the tribe or providing gifts of rifles or horses. Oh, okay. Each modifier is noted and a d6 is rolled. The result may be successful or lead to a tribe strategy or even to a warpath between the tribe and the crew. Unique instances may occur, all of which cannot be fully imagined in the rules. Refer to the table information and always note the tribe and if an encounter was friendly or hostile. If more than one counters happen to be in the hex, conduct each policy separately, beginning with the counter on the bottom. Okay. Oh, okay, I see. So what I was confused about was the friendship table. What I do is I first roll on the friendship policy table, and then that could in turn say roll on the friendship table because I was successfully befriending them or something. I'm guessing because I have a Ute guide. Why did I think it had a Y? Okay, I don't know. Never mind. Never mind about spelling. But there are different kinds of Ute tribes that it mentions. But when I was getting a guide, I was able to just get Ute, just plain Ute. I'm going to assume it applies, and therefore adds 1 to my roll. It wasn't entirely clear about that. So in other words, I'm going to look at this friendship policy and add 1, which sounds like I cannot get a warpath at least. But I could get tribe strategy, which means roll on this table. Or if I roll well, I get to roll on friendship. And here's where the modifiers are. +1 for each businessman. I'm a businessman, so I add 1 for that. +1 per guide of the same tribe. So I get +2. And I could donate a rifle or a horse to get pluses, but I'm not going to do that just yet. -1 if any guided enemy. I'm assuming my other guide, Shoshone, is not enemy, but I don't know how I would tell that. I guess. I don't know. I'm going to just conveniently ignore that for now. But actually, it says something here. Tribe enemy. First neighboring tribe not related. For example, all Utes will be allies with Utes. But if Shoshone is nearest on map tribe or a peer, will be enemy. Okay, so if they're on the map and nearby, they're the enemy by default. Is that what it's saying? Yeah, okay. All right, so I'm going to just roll with a +2 due to the being a businessman and having 1 guide that's a Ute. So let's do that. I need a 3 or higher on the physical die to get a roll on the friendship table. 3, cool. So we get to roll on friendship. So let's roll again. And I think we do not add any modifiers on this table. 3. Number 3 on the friendship table. Indians describe 3 unexplored adjacent hexes. Draw cards for terrain, river, and encounter for 3 adjacent hexes. Oh, so even the encounter, though. Wow. And do I resolve those right away, I guess? I guess I would have to. Oh, that's pretty cool.
Okay.
So let me resolve those. Now I know my turn is suddenly taking longer, Rob Bob. But... So bear with me.
All right.
All right, so I get to explore 3. I guess I'm just gonna do. Sorry about my hand in the way. 1, 2, and 3. That seems to make sense. So I'm doing for all of those the terrain, river, and encounter. Okay, so we're gonna do this hex first. Do all 3: terrain, river, and encounter. First of all, the terrain. We are in the gray, which is rocky, so we get the green terrain, which is called alpine. So they tell us that there's stuff here. And now we're going to do the river. They tell us that the river ends. Oh man, I was kind of hoping we get a nice long river, but apparently it ends. So what do we draw it like through the center of the hex and then it stops right there? Or let me check what happens when you get river ends. And again, I do have this strong feeling of once we, I'm referring to the rules a million times, but I feel like once we get to each kind of outcome, we'll kind of be able to just roll with it very quickly. River begins is here. Where's the river ends? Hang on, sorry about this. It's not clear. Continue. Why did I not mention river end? Oh, I guess it's guess it's supposed to be obvious. All right, I guess what I'm thinking about is, do I want to draw it like through the center of this hex, or does it not even go into the hex at all? It doesn't matter. I kind of like the idea of just drawing it to the center, so I'm going to do that. So it ends in here. It's a kind of weak river. And then we roll for encounter. It's kind of a little weird for me, that we would we would draw the encounters. Like, wouldn't that? I don't know. I guess there's mechanically no way to like store up the encounter for when you actually move there, so it all just happens now. Does the river then enter the? Oh, that was your comment from before, Eric. Sorry. I think. All right, so let's just go with it. We do have a new encounter. Okay. So it's another TP symbol. And now I'm doubting how this works. Like, why would I be? Maybe they just appear, but I don't deal with them until I move there. I think that would make sense. You'd only deal with the encounter once you're touching the. You're actually in the same space as the counter for the encounter. The counter for the encounter. All right. Anyway, so I'm drawing another one of these central pieces. Oh, we got a Spanish dragoon. Look at that. Interesting. I don't know if I should be deathly afraid of them or not. I'm immediately like, the Spanish. They're not going to be nice to me. All right. Now what? Do I have a special dragoon table or? Well, I guess I'm gonna go with what I was just saying, that I don't even deal with them until I'm in the space, perhaps. I think that would make sense. So here's the chart for Spanish dragoon. All right, looks like they could be nice. Looks like they're always nice.
Oh.
Unless you roll a 6, they're literally asking to move north next turn, or they will move to hex and conduct combat during encounter. Okay, so you roll a 6, they're like, you got to get out of here, or we're going to kill you. So it's not always nice. All right, so let's move on to the next text that I'm getting information about. And first, we're going to do the terrain. So we get a mountain this time. Then we do the river stuff. River begin. Oh, you're kidding me? This is. I think the cards are kind of like, statistically structured so that you shouldn't have these weird little millions of sporadic tiny rivers, but that seems to be happening right now anyway. So a new one appears, and we have to draw a blue circle in the middle and decide randomly which direction it goes. Oh my goodness. There's got to be better markers for this. But this is what we have. Or better crayons, I mean. Maybe you could just use a like a plexiglass thing and use dry erase markers. Okay, so the direction of the river is 2, which is kind of northeastish. I knocked your guy, Bob. Sorry about that. Okay. And then the encounter is nothing. Okay, that's good. I don't feel like doing a million encounters. So next we're doing, or lastly, we're doing this hex here. The terrain is alpine.
Okay.
The green triangle. As far as the river goes, it is river ends. No, that would be if there was one already. It's nothing. No new river. And as far as encounters go, there is nothing. Because the lower left is empty. All right, so that's the end of that whole information dump that the kind Ute people bestowed upon me. We know there's Spanish Dragoons up here. Maybe I'll hang out with them next, see what they do to me. But now we actually have to do phase 4, which we haven't done before, which is draw a card for encounters movement. We have to see how the Dragoon and or these tribes, the Utes, will move around. I think that's how it works. And this is worth a look up in the rules because we haven't done this before. Phase 4, draw a card for encounter movement. The top exploration card is discarded, and the encounter movement section of the next face-up card is read. Text will often refer to the closest or furthest counters. Distance refers to the player drawing the card. If counters are equal in distance, player makes a choice. Encounters are moved by a direction roll. Okay. After direction determined, a d6 is rolled again for the amount of spaces moved. They kind of move crazy, sounds like. Counters can move onto or through other encounters. If the counter moves onto a crew, it immediately stops. Oh, okay. A policy choice is conducted if tribal, or if trapper or dragoon, a table roll. Oh, you can run to other trappers, by the way. Counters can move into other regions. Yeah, that's fine. If a counter moves off map, or if card states remove, it is placed back into its proper encounter pile. Adobe settlements cannot be moved or removed, such as Ryan's home. Okay, that seems not too complicated then. So let's take the next card and see how encounters move. Is it all of them at once, or we draw one card per thing on the board, or what? Actually, after I said it's simple enough, I'm suddenly very unsure of myself. Let's just go with one. It's probably just one for all of them. What am I looking for? The bottom right? So that I guess that means they do nothing. Let me verify that. Yep. So they don't move basically. Nobody moves. Nobody moves. All right. So now I can eat my food and hunt and all that fun stuff. So, I accidentally moved my trap. It was over here. Right, I guess I'll just hunt. So back over to the table, which I should pretty much have memorized by now. Essentially, it's 1 to 4, nothing, but I'm adding 2 once again because of my 200s with rifles. All right, so that is a 5, and therefore I feed 5 of my 8 peeps, and we consume 3 rations overall. Down to 51 rations, which is 1 more than we started with, so not bad. And it's your turn, Rob.
Okay.
First things first. How many points do you want to use?
I guess 3.
Mm-hmm. So we draw a danger card. You get horse crossing plains. Are you out of the plains? You are by 1 space. The kind of yellowish or greenish yellow on the right is the plains, and you've just left the plains. So you did not lose your horse because it would have broken its leg. All right, so now you choose. Where are you moving?
Well, I was thinking of going right, but I'm not sure.
Back to the trap.
Good. Yeah, but I might just go that way when I have more points.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'm actually not quite sure how the retrieving of traps works. I could look that up if you'd like.
Uh, doesn't it take one turn or one movement?
Yeah, but I'm not sure what you actually get from it.
Okay.
Oh, you roll the checking traps table, of course. Do
Alright. Of course.
you want to check what that looks like?
Yeah.
All right. So the checking traps table looks like. Here you go. It's right in front and center. D6. 1 or less is nothing. 2 plus. Result plus modifiers are pelt total. Natural 6 roll again. Add both results plus modifiers for pelt total. +1 per river entry and exit. +1 for lake. +1 for spring or fall season. We're not doing seasons. -2 per encounters on the same hex. -1 per adjacent encounter. All right. So basically, you're going to get a bunch of pelts, which I think you sell
Okay.
back at You sell them back at the at Missouri for how much? I don't know. Well, they have
Okay.
the prices and stuff here. Is pelt on it? Pelts $20
Yeah.
in trade, $5 to buy. Cheating rate. Sorry, pelts are 10. So basically, you get $10 for each one you sell.
Okay.
Okay, so now we know how that works at least. And
What can I buy with money? Like more supplies?
yeah, basically what we bought at the beginning, we could buy crew members. You can buy rifles for them. You can buy horses and things. You can buy a canoe. Is I think the only thing we haven't purchased already, essentially.
Alright.
Different types of crew members, notwithstanding. Like you could get bunch of stuff. Tourist and garrison are for later in the game, which I think is only in campaign mode. Actually,
Alright. I think I'm just gonna explore a new
yeah, I
area.
think that makes sense probably. All right, so what this one or this one?
Let's go down into the lift.
It goes down into the lift. All right, first we check if you're lost. You roll the blue Rob
Alright.
Bob die. You are not lost. You are very, very
Not lost.
in control of where you're going. Yeah, you're very not lost. Draw a card for terrain. You have found a mountain.
Alright. No encounters? Or did we not do that yet?
We didn't do that yet. Draw for the river. No new river. Draw for
Okay.
discovery. If in the central mesa, there would have been the Glenwood Hot Springs, but you did not find that.
Hmm.
You're You're not in the central. You're in the northern Rockies. So
Central is below that line.
yeah, this is central, and mesa is specifically this kind of light tan.
Okay.
To get the bigger view, it looks like yeah, this whole area here is all a mesa, and this here would be the central mesa. Anyway,
Alright.
moving on. Draw for encounters. Oh, you found something. Not in oh, what is that? I thought there was only a knot in mountain, but I guess there's a knot in something else too. I don't know what that is though. It just shows a hex. So not they don't appear if you're in a hex. What all games in hexes? Now let's see what that means. No encounter in previously explored icon. Okay. If in a previously explored hex and the symbol on encounter draw, no encounter occurs. Okay. So that does not apply.
I do encounter them.
You do, yes. So I will draw for you from the northern pile, which is this guy here. It's blue. It is Trappers. Huh. I think the 2 is like their combat strength, by the way. So maybe it is kind of important that we know if we're 1 or 2.
Hello.
Hello?
Sorry, my microphone.
Are you good? I think Rob Bob is having a technical difficulty. Rob Bob.
Hello, I can hear you.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, then we're good. So, you're encountering the Trappers, which I imagine. Has anybody seen Cannibal the musical? These trappers who sing this silly song, and I don't know. I'm not going to do the whole thing now, but I do know all the lyrics to it. They're basically singing about how badass and macho they are because they kill animals and they drink their blood and things like that. Anyway, it's it's a whole comedy thing. The whole movie, Cannibal the musical, by the makers of South Park. Right then, Trappers Encounter is right here. I don't see any indication that you add anything. Yeah, I don't think you add anything. They could just attack you.
Okay.
They're like, hey, you're trying to encroach on our turf with these traps you've laid. I could glance at the manual quick just to be sure that you don't add anything.
Thank you.
So I'm looking over here. In the case of an encounter with trappers or a Spanish dragoon, the particular table is rolled. Yeah, I don't think you modify anything. All right, so the trappers encounter, I will roll for you because you're not here. They might just give you a nod of acknowledgement. 2, we'll trade up to 25 rations for 6 pelts or vice versa. Okay.
Okay.
Do you want to do that?
What does it mean up to?
So you could do less than that, right? I think we'd have to look at the values, respective values. I think it has to be one for one. But basically, you could say, give me 2 pelts, and I'll give you the appropriate number of rations to match that value, or vice versa.
Okay.
And if you look over here,
So I want to buy.
yeah, it's basically, do you want to give them rations and get pelts in exchange? I guess. And a ration is only worth 1, and a pelt is worth 10. So it'd be like you could give them 10 rations for 1 pelt, I think.
But
Doesn't really sound worth it.
pelts don't have a use. Pelts don't have a use to me besides selling them, right?
Yeah. And how much did we say they're worth when you sell them? Oh, would they just be worth 10, I guess?
I think just
What's
10.
the point of doing this? There might be modifiers you could get, like somehow they could be worth more. Or if you had like, 1,000,000 pelts, you could buy a lot of food this way.
Well, I'm not gonna buy anything.
Yeah,
I think.
I think that's reasonable. Okay. So I guess that's it for the trappers. And now you draw a card for encounters movement. Oh, something happens. This is the first time we've had encounters that move. Remove 2 nearest encounter. Oh, they just leave. Like, I'm out of here. So the one you're on top of would obviously be the nearest.
And then
I'm not supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be. I keep rolling the die on the board. I think I'm knocking things around. Maybe my arm's just doing
is
it.
it the Spanish is the next one?
Oh, yeah, man. I wanted to encounter them. Oh, yeah, I think they're gone. Nobody expected them to leave. Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition. All right, see you, Spanish.
Well, they didn't inquire enough.
All right, they're back in the pile. Oh man, I wanted to go to them next turn. Wine. Okay. So now you do your actions and eating. I guess you're gonna hunt.
I guess I'm just gonna hunt.
All right. Let's roll your die, adding 2. Oh, I think you failed.
Uh-oh. I guess that just means I don't get anything.
Yeah, you got
Or
nothing.
only a little.
You got nothing.
Alright. At least I don't, like, shoot one of my guys.
A 2 would have been a fail actually as well. But yeah, yeah, it would be kind of interesting if it was like 1 roll again. If you roll a 1 again, then something bad happens. Like you got hurt in the process of hunting. But anyway, that's not what happened. So you got nothing, and you have to eat 8 of your rations.
All right.
So-
Well, I had a bunch of buffalo last time, so
Yeah, you can eat those. So you're down to 49, which is not terrible. All right. I guess that's it. You're not going to set a trap, right?
Oh, no.
All right, then it is my turn. I cannot encounter Spanish dragoons anymore, sadly. I wonder if I can stay here and keep encountering the same tribe. Probably. I don't want to though. Gotta stop knocking things around. So what do I want to do? Yeah, this blue doesn't really. It looks a lot like the black. Oh yeah, we were supposed to be keeping track of explored hexes, I think. So you have what, 2 now, I guess? And I have. Do these count as explored because they've been uncovered? I guess they would have to, otherwise you'd have to keep track of which revealed ones are technically explored or not.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. So I got 5 of them. All right. I don't know. I guess if I move, I can't really uncover a new hex. I think. Or do these ones count as unexplored? And what is the X? And what does the X mean? Do you see these X's?
I don't know.
It's only on those
There's
2.
one in the middle that has it.
Oh yeah, look at that. It has to do with the rivers, I think. I don't know where to
Maybe
look that up though. XXX. Oh, I think I saw that actually. River X. If discoveries make X's on a river, the river is dangerous. Oh. If canoeing through X or cross river with X, a river danger roll must be made. That's a dangerous space of the river, I guess.
Okay.
Can we even cross the river, or is that like in like the campaign or advanced mode only or something? I don't know.
You
Crossing
were probably
river.
saying movement.
Yeah, crossing river is advanced only. Okay, so I guess we don't have to worry about crossing it. Does that mean we can freely move over it though, or is it like a wall? I don't know the answer to that.
I don't know.
Well, let's take a look at this section. River movement. Crews can only travel on a river by canoe. The source of the river determines speed. Huh? Going away from the source. Oh. That's interesting. There's a whole like, are you going downstream or upstream? Going towards the source would be traveling up. I mean, they shouldn't be. Okay. Before, when my river ended, I was like, oh, I'm going to draw a little circle in the middle. I probably shouldn't do that. Because that kind of makes it ambiguous which side is the source or not. You know what I mean? Maybe if the river ends, I should just not draw anything then. Where the heck were these people? Guess we were both here. Anyway, I don't have a thing to actually erase these with right now, so we'll just deal with it. But yeah, can I just cross this or not? Because if we're not using the crossing river rules, does that mean I'm free to cross it without getting into fancy stuff, or do I have to go around? That's the question I want to know. But it gets into upriver or downriver for movement rates. You have to have a canoe for that. If canoeing through or crossing a river marked with an X, the river is dangerous and a river danger roll must be made. A crew must map unexplored Colorado and Arkansas River hexes. Okay, so it's not explored. They cannot simply move down these rivers without mapping them. But can you move? I'm so confused. Can you just move on the space without going on the river, though? I think you can, though, because that's what you start out doing. You don't have a canoe. It's just you can't take advantage of the movement bonus for using a canoe, I think. That's what I'm making up. So do you have to keep track of which side of the river you're on? Or I don't know. It does say crews can only travel on a river by canoe, but does that mean you can't even be on a river hex? But again, it kind of makes you start at once. That it could just be I wasn't really supposed to be moving along the river like I did on my first turn, and I accidentally cheated.
It's alright.
Yeah, that's not a big deal, but I guess going forward though, should we say you can't go on a river unless you have a canoe, like at all? I think that's probably.
Guess.
I think that makes sense actually. So I'm gonna have to go around the river, I think. All right. So we don't have crossing river rules, so we're gonna say that you have to go around it. All right. So with that in mind, I have to well,
Can you cross it if you have a canoe?
I don't know.
I don't know.
All right. Well, let's just avoid that maybe.
Okay.
Can always ask.
Well, neither of us have canoes yet, so
Yeah.
All right,
if
we will even get them.
Now here's the thing though, I have to decide if I'm gonna use 3 movements or what. I can't explore a new one this turn, new hex this turn. So it seems kind of pointless to use 3. I feel like I might as well just use 1 and avoid the danger. So I guess I'll do that. I'm gonna use 1, not draw a danger. Now I'm going to an explored hex, so I go here. I'm gonna go there trying to go around the river long term. And now I draw an encounter though. So I go on this section, which we did the first turn only. We're doing that again. Draw a card for encounter, and I get nothing. Okay. So yeah, then we just do draw a card for encounters movement to see if this one tribe does anything movement wise. Nope, nothing. And we're back to actions and eating already. Okay. Let's act and eat. I will hunt.
Put on a play.
What's that?
You're gonna put on a play.
Gonna put on a play?
You're gonna act.
Oh yes, act. All right, so 4 plus 2 is 6. So I have to use 2 rations. I'm down to 49. I don't know, should I put down a trap? Sure, why not? I'll do it. Down a trap. And it's your turn again.
All right. Guess I'm gonna explore to my west.
So you're doing 3, right? 3 movement
Yeah.
points. Okay, so first things first, we check for danger. Will Robinson. Coyotes attack in the brush. You're not in the brush. So you're good. So far, the danger hasn't actually materialized ever, right?
Nope, not yet.
You're in the mountain, just to be clear. So you're going to head where? To the west?
Yeah.
Okay. So we got to check if you're lost first. Gonna roll 1 die. I think you're good. Well, did we say just 1
I
would mean
think
you're
so.
lost? Yeah, because you have 2 guides. I should have this memorized. Yeah, you're good. +1 per guide or scout. All right, so you're not lost. Draw a card for terrain. You have found mountains once again. Draw a card for river. River begins. Look at that.
Okay.
So we get to draw a
But-
circle. Yep.
If I could be on a tile, where a river begins.
Hmm?
I'm on a tile where a river begins. Didn't we say you can't walk on river tiles?
I guess you can run. We're making stuff up. I guess you can be on a tile where the river begins. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe it'll become clear as we keep playing. But yeah, we can be on that for sure. So let's see the direction. This is 2 again to that way, sort of the northeast. So it's going up this way. And you get another discovered hex on your character sheet. And then you draw a card for discovery. Did you discover something cool? You might have. You are in the mountains. If in mountains or mesa, discover bizarre stone formations. 10 VP. So you got 20 VP worth of discovery. Yeah, that's pretty good. They don't have
I
any
don't know
yet.
if I should go back.
Hmm?
I don't know how much I should get, like, before I start going back.
Yeah, I mean, you could just try it if you want. I wouldn't stress over it though, because we're probably gonna have to abort the game within like an hour anyway.
Yeah. Alright.
But if you want to try to do some math, what do we say those translate into 10 times the value in money? So you get 200.
Yeah.
And also you get 20 victory points that are, you seal the deal on 20 victory points. So you would be beating me if, or do your explored hexes actually count for that too? That's something worth looking at. Maybe we should read up on that when you return Missouri, what happens exactly. We know you cash in those victory points, right? You can also build a log cabin in campaign mode and build trading post in campaign mode. I think this might be the section. A crew can return to Missouri at any time during the game to re-outfit their crew, and secure victory points and be paid for all their discoveries, including hexes explored and passes. In a campaign game, the crew can do this re-outfitting, point securing, and money earning at the Rocky Mountain Rendezvous once during spring or summer. When going to Missouri or Rendezvous, the following phases occur in this order: record discoveries, explored hexes, and passes into points. All discoveries made are turned into victory points and are now secure as the crew shares their information with others. Points made convert to money. This is kind of what we already knew. 10 times the value in money. Trade pelts for money. 1 pelt equals $10. If at the Rocky Mountain Rendezvous, roll on the rendezvous table. We're not doing that. Outfit and pay for existing and additional crew, so you can buy more stuff, basically. And once a year, leader gains 1 advancement. That's for campaign mode only. So basically, Is it 1 for the explored hexes and passes? I guess probably. Like, in other words, if every hex would give you 1 point. Doesn't say otherwise, so I would assume that.
Okay.
All right. So, where were we? You had just discovered the river, and we found the discovery, right? Bizarre stone formations. Did we draw the card for encounters? No, right?
No.
We did not. You found something, but not in the mountains. You're in the mountains, right? So you found nothing, actually. All right, so that's the end of phase 2. Draw a card for encounter movement. Nobody moves. And so actions and eating. You're hunting, I take it?
Yep.
Hunting seems like a no-brainer. I almost wish there was ever a reason not to. Maybe thematically it doesn't make sense that they wouldn't be hunting, but I don't know. It just seems like I wish there was a decision to make for the hunting. I guess a set traps is there's a decision because you have a limit to them.
Yeah.
And if there was like a rare bad outcome that could happen from hunting, then maybe in some situations you might say, well, I already have plenty of food and, I don't want to risk it. But I don't know. I guess it's a no-brainer. So I'll roll for you, right?
Yeah.
Okay, 4 gets bumped to 6. So you get 6 food. You feed 6 people and you have to eat 2 rations.
Okay. And I think that's it.
Are you laying a trap?
No.
Okay, then that is it, yes. Back to me. I guess I'm going to use 3 points this turn to explore. Therefore, I draw a danger now. Kind of want a danger to happen just because I want something fun to happen. A moose is startled in the Alpine. I'm in the Alpine. Cool. We got a startled moose, people. Something's happening. Excitement. The excitement that I asked for. Except now I'm seeing that people can get killed, so I don't know about this. A moose is startled in Alpine. Attacks 1 crew member. Oh, no. I'm going to regret wishing some danger occurred. Roll 1d6. 1 to 2 is killed. What's that?
Sorry, I just read the +1 per hunter and soldier. Which is good, I guess.
Doesn't say +1 per. I think it's...
Oh, if. So
Yeah.
it's only just +1 if you have the...
Yeah, I saw in Nate's video when he had... It's funny, he had a random thing that said lightning strikes 1 person and kills them. And that was like his very first turn, and he was kind of joking, like, that sounds like a bad omen for this expedition. But anyway, the point is he said you could... It seemed like he was just winging it. It sounded like he said you could either choose which crew member or roll. So, and he showed that you could look at each type, like leader, soldier, hunter, businessman, doctor's guide. You could roll 1 die and choose one of those. I guess that's what I'll do.
All right.
To see which one it is, and then you would roll on this. But yeah, +1 if hunter or soldier. I have 2 soldiers and 2 hunters, so it's a good. I guess it's a good chance it could be one of those. Well, actually, going by that method, it doesn't matter how many there are, right? I could have 100 soldiers, and there would still be a 1 in 6 chance of it being a soldier. You know what? I'm gonna do the. Let's look it up in the rulebook thing. Look it up, dear. If I can find any info on it quickly. Let's see. Where would I even look at that? I guess dangers or... Drawing danger. Only the hex the crew begins in is considered. See, determine random crew. Oh, that's good. Where is that though? Oh, right here. Okay. Players can choose which crew member an event affects, or you have the choice. It's actually part of the rules that you can choose which crew member or randomly roll. A d6 is rolled. The result is a number beside the particular skill. If there are more than one crew member of this skill set, the player can select which one is affected. Okay, so that's all right. Maybe I will choose a hunter or soldier just because they'd have better odds. So far, the soldiers haven't done anything, but I feel like once I do get into a combat, I'll be glad I have soldiers. So let's go with a hunter. Hunter is getting attacked by the moose. And so 1 to 2 is killed, 3 to 4 is injured, which I don't know what injured actually means. We'll have to look that up if it happens. 6 or plus. What is 5? It's supposed to be. I can only assume that's supposed to be 5 plus. 5 plus moose killed. +1 if hunter or soldier injured cannot move this turn. Huh. All right, so the hunter is in a battle with a startled moose. And let's see what happens. I rolled a 3, which gets bumped up to a 4, and it's injured, unfortunately. We have an injured hunter. And it says he cannot move this turn. I don't know if that's the only definition of what injured means or if it's in the rules. Let's check that out. Or I'd even find injured. One thing I haven't looked at all in the rules is like combat. I'm not even sure I noticed a section on that. Oh, here, it's a very brief thing about combat. Right here. Well, that's not what we're doing right now. We're doing is looking up injured. I guess that's the definition of it, probably. Just can't move this turn. Which actually kind of sucks because I would have to choose to leave them behind, I think, or into a separate group, or just not move this turn at all. Like nobody moves. I think that's how it would work. I don't want to leave one of my brave men behind, though, so I guess I'll just not move. That's kind of lame, though. Could he catch up easily? Let me think about that. I feel like he'd always be lagging behind because if I have my main group use 3 MP movement points to keep exploring the new hex, then the guy I leave behind would always be just playing catch up every time, I think. That gets into how does the grouping work when you split up into groups. Not sure if I feel like looking that up right now. I'll just say I'm not going to move this turn, unfortunately. So I'm not going to leave my hunter behind. He has his moose injury. We're going to tend to him. We do have a doctor. Does the doctor help reduce injury at all? What does he do? What does the doctor even do? See, I got one doctor here. Maybe I should look up doctor real quick. Because if a doctor can prevent injury, then hey. Oh, this is interesting. If we ever get close to each other, this is a totally random thing I noticed. And I've seen these counters, right? They're called mapped. So how that works is if we start getting near each other, we still have to explore the other person's stuff. In other words, I move on to your mountain here. I don't know what that is. So once we start getting close to each other, we have to start covering explored hexes with these mapped pieces, just so we know, hey, you know, this is mapped by the orange player, and the yellow player cannot just assume it's explored, sort of. So that's interesting. But anyway, it's not what I was looking up. I was looking up doctors. Well, it doesn't say in the section where you choose your crew, so I don't know. Kind of wondering, does it anywhere does anywhere in the rules say like this kind of person does that, this kind of person does this? I don't know. All right, whatever. That was kind of a grasping at straws thing that the doctor would prevent the moose injury. Anyway, so I don't move, and let's move on with the turn. We're gonna do not moving into unexplored hex. Movement ending in explored hex. We still draw an encounter even if we've stood still, I think. Because we execute this stuff here. We do this stuff here as long as we end the turn in an explored hex, which is what we're doing. So we find no encounter in the bottom left. And therefore we draw a card for encounter movement. Look at this, the furthest two encounters move. Okay, so this is the only encounter on the board, but they're going to move. They're going to move one random direction and one die worth kind of randomly. So first we're going to check the direction in the bottom left here. And that's 2. I keep rolling 1 and 2s for random direction. He's going that way. The tribe is going that way. And our map has veered off a little bit over time. Let's see how much. They might like run off the map, I think. 4. Okay, they're going like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Huh. Interesting. Okay. We're back to actions and eating. It's my favorite thing to do is eat. So let's do it. Let's eat. Hunt. All right. I got 5 food. And I have to consume 3 rations. It's the same usual stuff. Down to 46. All right. That's the end of my turn. Back to you, Rob Bob.
All right.
Thanks for hanging out with us tonight, people. Looks like we got 4 viewers currently. Before we had about 7. Pretty popular for a weird, weird, obscure kind of game. I'm having fun though.
Explore a new tile.
Okay, so you're gonna do 3.
Yep.
Let's draw the danger. Danger, Will Robinson. Roll D12 event. Interesting. Now, D12, anyone who's played Gamer Nerd games knows D12 refers to a 12-sided die. For some reason in this game, it means roll 2 dice. And the result can be from 2 to 12. I don't know why they didn't just write 2d6. I'm 99.9% certain that Nate has played games that use 2d6s, but I don't know. He thinks it's cool to call it a d12. That's fine. That's just his. That's his choice. But there's a special d12 event chart, and that's what we're looking at, I guess. D12 danger event. So we have 11 different possible outcomes.
Oh, I could get 3 wild horses.
Yeah.
Or I could get struck by lightning.
Yeah, that's what happened to Nate on his first turn. That I was just saying. And here you get a chance to surviving. Bonus chance to surviving lightning if you have a doctor. I guess that's what they're for. Sporadic lightning strikes that happen. All right, I will roll 2 blue dice for you. Knocking myself around. Guess I was here. You got 4. Which is
Low.
regular game, or if spring, fall, or winter in campaign game, half the crew catches a cold round down. Ooh, so 4 of your people catch a cold. Roll a d6. 1 to 4 must stay on hex for this turn. 5 plus can continue. Plus 1 to die roll if doctor in crew. All right, you have a doctor.
Okay.
So I guess you can choose which 4 or roll randomly. And then for each of those 4 who catch the cold, you can roll to see if they must stay on the hex or not. So how do you want to do this? You have just a reminder of what you got. You have your leader, who is a businessman. 2 soldiers, 2 hunters, a doctor, and 2 native guides.
I can't split up, right?
You can actually. That's kind of what I was alluding to when my guy got injured. You can split up groups. We have these special group counters that look like this. Like group A, group B. It's not focusing right every time I show. So you can actually split. I have to read up on how that actually works, but I think it's probably just like you move 2 groups.
So I have to choose 4 people?
Yeah, I wouldn't overthink it. I mean, if you do plan on splitting, it could matter. If you don't plan on splitting, then it doesn't really matter.
I guess I won't split, so I can just do like the guides and businessman and
Okay.
soldier, I guess.
Okay, the 2 guys, 1 businessman leader, and one soldier.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's roll for each one. You get a +1 due to having a doctor. And what was it? 1 to 4 stay on the hex, but we get the +1. So essentially, 4, 5, or 6 is good. 1, 2, or 3 is bad. All right, so let's roll the first one. Let's go with the leader. All right, so off the bat, you have a sick person who can't proceed. Does that mean? And if you don't plan on splitting, I guess there's no point in continuing to roll, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're not moving?
Yeah.
Okay, so you kind of had the same outcome as I did, essentially. Except I was attacked by a moose and you caught a cold.
Yeah.
All right, Zeblik is back. Welcome back, Zeblik, who says Agon or Agon, I don't know how you say that, is the oldest known game to use a hex grid that we know of. The use of hexagons in games seems to be a recent practice. As far as we can tell, Agon, also known as Queen's Guard, was the first one. I'll have to look that up later. Thank you very much for the info, Zeblik. That's pretty cool to know. He was referring to our previous side convo in the chat about what's the first hex game. I think Ryan, RJNC, raised that question. Cool. All right then. So you're staying put, Rob Bob, and
Yep.
you have to draw for encounter in an already explored hex. And you found nada. So next, draw a card for encounters movement. Are these Utes gonna roll off or like run away off the board? Let's see what happens. No, they stand put. All my cards are arranged randomly, so I'm always flipping the deck one way or the other. All right, so actions and eating. Should I just always assume you're hunting and roll the die?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, can I hunt if I have a cold?
It didn't say you can't.
I guess so then.
I did roll a 1 though, unfortunately.
Alright, whatever. It's a 1.
It happens sometimes, I guess. All right, so nothing, and therefore you're eating
Ration.
8 rations worth.
Alright.
Hmm?
I said alright.
Takes you down to 39. Okay. And any trapping you're doing?
No.
Okay. Back to me. I think we'll probably have to wrap up the stream soon. It's getting late. I think I'm losing Rob Bob.
Yeah, I'm a little tired.
Okay. I think it's a pretty neat game, but yeah, we would need a lot of time to get deep into it. And we have a couple of questions we can look up online, especially regarding rivers. So hopefully there's some Q&A out there. I did notice there was an errata page, by the way. And I printed it out, except, you know, at the time I printed it, I didn't really understand what I was looking at, so I just kind of shoved it aside. But here it is. It might be worth glancing at. It also has some questions. The side movement. The crew does not need to select a movement, meaning crew will not move. Okay, so you can also say, I'm not going to move. You can choose that. A crew must stop on a hex with an encounter and conduct a policy or table roll. Okay. Encounter is moving due to change of season. That's a campaign thing. Tribe policy plus or minus 1. Oh, these are not cumulative. So if you have multiple negative or positive encounters with tribes, they don't build up forever. Picking up traps. If wanting to remove a trap, pick up trap during action phase. Oh, you can do that. I'm not sure the point of doing that, but... Well, I guess can you pick up other players' traps? That would make a difference. Outfitting paying crew in campaign. Oh, you have to pay your crew every time you go back or something? I'm not sure what that's referring to. It's only for campaign, so never mind. Small group. A small group must remain in group until phase 1. What? I guess it's about if you're splitting up into groups, basically. I'm not going to worry about those details yet. Questions. Climbing mountain or searching for paths while exploring new hex versus movement on explored hex. Stressing point. Yes, the crew gets a free action to climb a new mountain hex or search for a path. What is searching for a path? Something in... Hang on. I think I've been ignoring this bottom thing. I think I assumed the whole thing was for advanced only, but I'm not sure. It might only be search for animal trails is advanced. But search pass and mountain climb. Could those be things we do?
Maybe.
Oh, they do have some
Maybe
questions
it's the
about
last
rivers.
one.
Sorry?
Maybe it's just the last one is advanced.
All right, let me check that quick, and then I'll resume looking at this question sheet, because it does talk about rivers, which we had questions about. So, search past mountain climb. Yeah, that could be fun, mountain climbing. Where is it? Search for pass. Oh, that's advanced. I guess it's probably that whole line. All right. Maybe next time we'll play advanced. I kind of like the idea of having more options. Okay, so back to the Q&A. Are bold all caps terrain on dangers and discoveries terrain itself or terrain environments? What are they talking about? Terrain itself. Mesa is mesa terrain, not the wider environment. Yeah, no idea what they're talking about. Do Arkansas and Colorado rivers need to be explored? Yes, this includes a card draw for rivers. A river could begin, meaning a river is breaking of the Arkansas or Colorado or moving across it. Cases. River beginning in Arkansas or Colorado River. No need to draw the circular source. The beginning river is considered breaking off from Arkansas or Colorado. All right. Well, that's something that hasn't arisen. That's a special case, I guess. That's what this whole cases section is about. River continues over Arkansas or Colorado River. Just draw continuation over the river. If turn or fork goes in the same direction as Arkansas or Colorado River, the direction will remain rather than reroll. All right, fine. All right. So where were we? Yeah, we can't do those other things. Did we finish your turn? Yeah, you did. You hunted and then you opted not to trap. All right, I'm thinking we can wrap this up soon. Maybe I'll just do one more turn, or if you'd like to do another 2, Bob, you could.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
I'll do my turn.
So let's go. We're gonna go for 3 movement points this turn. Let's draw for a danger, Will Robinson. But this is cool. We know how to play this now, mostly. I would say about, I don't know, at least 70-80% of it. Yeah. And yeah, we could try advanced mode next time, perhaps. And in the meantime, between now and next time, we could I could look up some of the questions that we had about rivers, especially. Okay, so the danger I encounter because I'm moving 3 is natives attacking the brush. I'm not in the brush. I kind of want to do a fight just because that would be fun to try once. Go to Warpath, but no. All right, so we're gonna move, I guess, over here. First, we check if we are lost. We are not lost. Check which terrain. Oop. It is Alpine. This actually would not be a difficult game to sort of save and continue later.
You could just leave it out if you want to.
I mean, would it be? You could take a picture of the board, and most of the board is well, not most of the board, but they're just like 8 or so counters. So I could just take a picture and then we put them back and just leave the drawings on where they are. My beautiful artwork here. Right. So anyway, now we do terrain. Sorry, do the river. River begins, huh? Okay. And once again, we look at this chart on the bottom left to see the direction of the river flow. 3, it's going east. Draw for discovery. Discovery. If in mountains, womp womp. See a white-tailed ptarmigan. Nah. I am not in the mountains. Draw for encounters. We do find an encounter. So once again, we're in central. Let's mix them up real good. And I draw some more utes. Oh, does it say elk? Yeah, these are cool. So if you look at the bottom of the outfitting sheet, there's apparently one ute tribe called the Parianuk, and they're the elk people. So it just says ute elk on the piece. All right, and since it's a tribe, we have to go on the policy chart. And this is not that. Right, so last time we tried friendship. We could hide, ignore, trade, cheat, friendship, combat. I guess I want to be different and not do friendship. I kind of want to be nice, though. Friendship. Again. I don't know, ignoring and hide sound boring, though. I guess hiding makes sense if you think they might attack you because you're not friendly with them. Oh, did I, when I encountered the other Ute, the, what are they called? The Yampa. Was I supposed to record something here? I guess nothing told me to add one to friendly. But yeah, okay. I don't know. I see some other outcomes that say like gives a piece of, like for over here on the chief table, it says gives a piece of clothing that represents +2 to friendship and trade with. Oh, it's not friendly. Yeah, it's worth knowing. How do we add to the friendly? I feel like maybe I should have done that before because nothing in here says add one to friendly. Oh. Mark friendly encounter in notes. I think that's it. So yes, I think I am friendly with Ute Yampa, but not with the other Ute. Not the elk Ute. But I've discovered them now. Ute, elk. And I guess I gotta pick which thing I'm rolling on. I don't know. So I think that 4. Now I don't like the idea of attacking these people, but I think even if I wanted to try it just to see how it goes, I think that 4 is their combat rating, so they'll probably murder me, I would imagine. Well, let's just try something not combative, but not friendship either. Trade or... See, I just don't like a lot of these options. I guess it makes sense for depending on the circumstance. I'll just do friendship again. Why not? If I roll something different on the table, it could be cool to try out. Let's try friendship again. All right. So once again, I have 1 Ute guide, and I have a businessman, so I can add 2 to the roll. So we're gonna go on the friendship policy. Yeah. First, I was like, I don't want to do it again, but now I'm like, I don't know. I just want to be friends. Why can't we be friends? All right, so I got a good roll, and I can roll on the friendship table. So now I am also friendly with the Ute elk, Arianuk. So we're gonna roll on here again, and we got 1 witness a seasonal dance. Note in discoveries 5 VP. That's fun.
Okay.
So that's my first VP I'm recording actually in discoveries. You got 2 of them that were worth 10 each. I think I don't know if I've kept up with writing down the hexes here, but I think I just got another one. Anyway, I guess that's it for that that encounter. Let's wrap this up. I'll let you do your turn after. I have to do encounter moving.
Okay.
They do not move. And then actions and eating. Let's hunt. 4 plus 2 is 6. So I lose 2 rations all in all. I will not leave a trap. And that means it's your turn, Rob Bob.
All right. Then I will, I guess, move to an unexplored area.
All right, so that's 3 movement points you're doing. Let's see if you get any danger. I think I have to start turning these cards rather than rotating the whole deck. One by one, they'll eventually be sorted out. All right, a guide fights with crew over water in the desert. You're not in the desert. Okay. So the desert is only this tiny sliver on the very western edge. And I don't really understand why you'd want to even travel to that unless there's special stuff, like really cool stuff that can happen there somehow, or somehow going to the Great Salt Lake can pay off in some manner. Something to think about. Anyway, you did not encounter a danger. So now we draw for your terrain, which
Well,
is...
I think you could go there to explore, because that's the point of the game.
I mean, yeah, but it's like, why would you need to explore that far necessarily? Unless there's something special about desert.
I don't know.
Or I guess you had the whole map filled up, I guess, if you played the game for that many hours. Anyway.
You could explore and find out.
Oh, which direction are you going, by the way?
Like, if I guess northwest.
Okay. So you found mountain. Yeah, I'll try to get a better understanding about the rivers for next time. There is a next time.
Yeah.
Okay, so you found mountain. Draw a card for river. Or no river. Discovery. If in plains, brush, or mesa. Plains is this whole section. Mesa is this whole section. And brush is a specific terrain that you're not in. So you did not find the herd of Mustangs and earn 5 VP. So, draw for encounter. No encounter. All right, so it looks like a pretty uneventful turn. Let's see if this guy wants to move.
When you said herd of Mustangs, I first thought of the car rather than the a horse.
Right. Yeah, they don't mean a they don't mean a bunch of people driving in Ford Mustangs in the 19th century up here.
A herd of them.
I heard of them. That's what we call them. All right. That's pretty much it. Oh, we did roll a movement. So all 1 to 4 strength encountered move. Yeah, so that is their strength. That number. And these guys are strength 3, and these ones are 4. So they both move. I think we roll one at a time. And once again, the way it works is first you roll direction and then how many spaces. So let's roll for the these yellow utes. They're called the elk utes first. They're going to go 2, which is again northeast. We're always getting like mostly north and northeast for these movements. And the number of spaces is 2, so he goes 1, 2 like so. And then for the Yampa Utes, the direction is 2 again. And the number of spaces they go is 6. Oh, they're off the map. They're out of here, folks. See ya. I don't want to be here anymore, guys. And oh man, the I kind of wasn't concerned because these, as I mentioned before, the some of these encounter pieces didn't really like break off very nicely. So they're kind of marked, and some of them are printed not great. Like there's lines that give away what's what. But I just wanted to say on top of that, I'm realizing the crayon really comes off on the pieces. So not ideal, but I guess my point is you kind of already had to just not look because they were sort of marked. So it doesn't really matter maybe. Anyway, just an observation. All right, so I guess that's all except for actions and eating.
All right, hunting. Hopefully not a one again.
Sorry.
3 ones in a row.
Was it 3 in a row?
think.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure.
All right, so you consume 8 rations. You're getting pretty low. I mean, not low, but it just seems like you're burning through them fast with these horrible rolls. So you're at 31.
Yeah. Maybe I should head back soon.
I wouldn't stress it. Anyway, we're ending for now, so.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Do you want to lay a trap before we go?
Sure.
All right, a trap is coming down. Trap number 3. And that's the game, folks. That was a little bit of Rocky Mountain Man. An interesting game. I had a lot of fun playing that.
Yeah.
And again, that is by Nate Hayden, who is a guy with some fiendish game design. And by the way, if you're still here, Stu, he's the guy who made that game that you refer to once in a while with the naked people in the woods or whatever. It was called Don't Let the Wolves Eat the Baby.
Actually, yeah. I think the art kind of looks similar.
Yeah, you can tell. His small company he calls the Emperors of Eternal Evil. Most of his games are horror movie themed games or horror themed games, and they all have a kind of an indie feel to them because they are indie, and they all have some kind of like, you know, I don't know, very, very kind of rough and gory themes going on. This is probably their least horror-y game, although as you saw in the rule book, there was quite a disturbing picture of a mountain man getting his guts torn apart by a bear, which we can look at right now for the fun of it, right here. So yeah, he doesn't shy away from the horror and gory stuff. He makes some really cool designs, you know. And again, he was highly inspired by, or directly inspired by Source of the Nile, which is a game I bought maybe 10, 15 years ago. And I never got around to playing it. This is actually from the late 70s. It is by Avalon Hill. and apparently the main mechanics are like close to identical. But the funny thing is, this is a little folio game with like you got this little board and some pieces and rules and cards. That's basically it. This thing feels like it must, just going by the weight, it feels like it must be much more in depth. Or at least it has a lot more, maybe like a hard-backed board and stuff like that. I don't really know. I've looked at this a long time ago. I just never got around to playing it. And for some reason, I was inspired to play this game and not this one. I'm just following my inspiration. But yeah, maybe eventually we can check out this game. But for now, we have to say so long. So that was fun. Thank you everyone who joined. Thank you to newcomers Zeblik and Dice Tails. I believe we haven't seen each other before, Dice Tails, but I appreciate your chatting and hanging out and watching. And as usual, thank you to some of our regulars, namely Eric and RJNC, who is Ryan, and Stu from Stu's Game Reviews. He has a great channel too, guys, by the way. Mostly retro gaming that he does, and he does some current games too, mostly like adventure style games. Sometimes he plays games on his like TRS-80 or something ancient like that. But yeah, you're welcome, Eric. Thanks again for joining. And I don't know what we're gonna do next week. Maybe we could play some more of this game. Saturday nights when me and Bob play stuff together, and we play usually either PC games or sometimes tabletop games. And during the week, I do my retro gaming stream, usually by my lonesome self. That's called Old Games on a weekday, by the way. But yeah, this was Rocky Mountain Man, and I gotta remind myself I'm gonna look up some rules about River. I want to understand how that works. I'd be up for revisiting this next week if you are, Bob. But I gotta say goodnight, guys, so I have to end this rant or whatever I'm doing here. So thanks again, guys. I'll see you next time. Take care.
See you next time. Goodbye.